4%. Chapter 21 The Gender Issue of Angels. Rest assured, Lord Overlord. We will definitely prioritize safety and remain vigilant against the dual-headed demon tribe. Ayada replied respectfully. Afterwards, she handed the spoils to Lin Yu. Among the spoils, the most eye-catching item was the wolf tooth club that had exploded from the dual-headed demon leader's body. It was nearly 2 meters long, with the club head covered in sharp spikes made of refined steel. With one swing of this club, the enemy would definitely turn into a beehive. It could also potentially smash them into a pulp. After all, the person who could wield this wolf tooth club not only needed a giant-like physique but also had to possess sufficient strength. Giant-like physique plus inhuman strength plus wolf tooth club equals brutal slaughter. Next were a pile of dazzling gold coins, totaling nearly 120 pieces. The reason there were so many gold coins was that before besieging the dual-headed demon squad, the angels had collected 45 gold coins by hunting monsters in the wilderness. Adding them up, it came to 118 gold coins. Now, we can summon 2 more two-winged angels. Lin Yu smiled. Upon hearing this, Ayada was also very happy. Like Lin Yu, she also enjoyed the process of summoning angels. Because each time Lin Yu summoned, it meant they were one step closer to the revival of the angel clan. As for the remaining blueprint, Lin Yu didn't examine it closely. He turned and walked into the hall of the Overlord. Ayada followed closely behind. Before long, the 2 newly summoned two-winged angels were summoned by Lin Yu. Greetings, Lord Overlord. Upon seeing Lin Yu, the 2 just summoned two-winged angels immediately saluted respectfully, their eyes filled with reverence for Lin Yu. Lin Yu nodded slightly. He then named the 2 two-winged angels, Rui and Halen. From then on, the number of members in the angel squad reached 9. Lin Yu turned to Ayada, who stood respectfully by his side, and said, I have dispatched several goblin warriors back to their tribe to lure out a group of goblins. When the time comes, you will be responsible for purifying their souls. Lin Yu now understood that the so-called soul purification was actually a means for the angels to spread faith to intelligent beings, using the holy light and angelic flame. In the past, Lin Yu would probably have regarded it as evil. But now, he fully agreed. Because he himself was the evil god, standing behind the angels. The angels were spreading his faith, consolidating the foundation for his future ascension to godhood, and helping him gain endless followers, making him the supreme and strongest god of faith. What reason did he have to oppose it? There was no reason, and he wholeheartedly supported it. Understood, Lord Overlord. Ayada respectfully complied. Then, under Lin Yu's signal, she left the hall of the Overlord with the newly summoned angels, Rui and Halen, and went to the wilderness to meet up with the other angels. Watching the backs of the 3 angels as they walked away, Lin Yu couldn't help but mutter. Because he suddenly thought of a question. All the angels he summoned were actually female angels, with no male angels appearing. Could it be that the angels in the real world were only female characters? Or, when reaching a higher level, such as summoning 6-winged angels or 12-winged angels, would male angels appear? This was a question worth clarifying. Lin Yu was quite eager, so he immediately initiated a remote consciousness communication with Ayada, who had just left the territory, to inquire about this matter. Soon, he received a reply from Ayada. She said that during the incubation process in the reincarnation pool, angels were genderless sacred beings. The reincarnation pool was the birthplace of all angels. At the moment of birth, the angel's gender would be determined. Regarding the issue of choosing gender, angels had the ability to decide for themselves. When Ayada and the others were being incubated, they actively assigned themselves the role of female angels. This was because in the process of spreading faith, female angels were more likely to gain the favor of believers and were more conducive to the spread of faith in the world of intelligent beings. Lin Yu's expression was astonished. Angels can actually assign their own gender. Yes, Lord Overlord, Ayada replied. This is done with the power of the reincarnation pool, but it can only be done once in a lifetime. From the moment they leave the reincarnation pool, the angel's gender is determined. After a momentary pause, Ayada said to Lin Yu, if Lord Overlord prefers male angels, you can intervene with your thoughts when summoning angels. Then, the angels that descend will be male angels. Generally speaking, the strength of male organisms is generally stronger than that of female organisms. Ayada thought that Lin Yu also had the idea of summoning male angels. There is absolutely no need. Lin Yu firmly denied it, and even the idea conveyed to Ayada became stronger. Female angels are fine. He didn't dislike male angels. It's just that he prefers beautiful and gentle female angels. I understand, Lord Overlord. Ayata expressed her understanding. At the same time, she also informed the other members of the angel team about this news. After learning about Lord of Holy Light's preferences, the beautiful angels were also very happy. It was their honor to be favored by Lord of Holy Light. As long as Lord of Holy Light is willing, they are even prepared to devote themselves at any time. They understand deeply that the most basic desire of intelligent beings is reproduction. As for the thoughts of the angels, Lin Yu is unaware. But even if he knew, he wouldn't be embarrassed. As the god of faith for the angels, he has taken several angels as lifelong companions and even established a harem directly within the angel clan, which is completely acceptable. After disconnecting from the mental communication with Ayata, Lin Yu once again turned his gaze to the nearly 2-meter-long Wolf Tooth Club. Its equipment information also appeared. Wolf Tooth Club. Type: Attack Equipment. Damage level: Level 8. Durability: 100. Special effect: in the hands of a professional whose level does not exceed level 9, damage is increased by 50%. Introduction: this is an exclusive weapon of a dual-headed demon leader, and only those with sufficient strength can use it. It's another supreme-grade equipment. Looking at the equipment information of the Wolf Tooth Club, a bright smile appeared on Lin Yu's face. In terms of value, the Wolf Tooth Club surpasses the Snake Armor. Because the Snake Armor is a defensive equipment, while the Wolf Tooth Club is an attack equipment. After equipping the Wolf Tooth Club, the hunting speed of professionals will become extremely terrifying. The 50% damage bonus highlights the terrifying power of the Wolf Tooth Club. A solid, newbie divine weapon. The unique drawback of the Wolf Tooth Club is its size. Nearly 2 meters long, exceeding the size of a normal human, making it very inconvenient to use. However, it is only inconvenient, not unusable. Just like Lin Yi, he can now equip the Wolf Tooth Club. Wielding it causes a storm to rage. With a single strike, the air will be shattered. The scene is extremely terrifying. However, this Wolf Tooth Club is too heavy, and it is difficult for Lin Yu to swing it continuously with his strength. If it were a professional of the same level, the usage time should be able to be extended. After reaching level 5, any professional should be able to use this Wolf Tooth Club easily. The humanoid units are the same. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yu also planned to list this Wolf Tooth Club on the island trading platform. This equipment is not suitable for him, nor is it suitable for angels. The unique use of it is to sell. Sell it for several thousand gold coins. At this stage, there is definitely no professional who is so wealthy, but Lin Yu is not in a hurry. Even if it hangs there for 2 months without any inquiries, the value of this equipment will not decrease. If someone wants to exchange it with special blueprints or high-level blueprints, that's not impossible. The key is special blueprints and high-level blueprints, such as blacksmith shop blueprint. Ordinary fence blueprint, arrow tower blueprint cannot match the value of this Wolf Tooth Club. After listing this equipment, my impression in the hearts of the island professionals will probably be raised another level. That's what he thought, and Lin Yu didn't hesitate. He decisively listed the Wolf Tooth Club on the trading platform. He is not afraid of exposing anything. After all, this is the floating island. Moreover, even if he hides it, he still shines with the aura of an apex-level overlord. The appearance of the Wolf Tooth Club will at most make his aura more dazzling, without causing too much impact or threat to himself. 4%. Chapter 22 Boiling. Lin Yu, Transcendent Level Boss. As expected by Lin Yu. As soon as the Wolf Fang Club appeared on the trading platform, it caused a sensation in the chat channels on the island. Every professional who saw the equipment information of the Wolf Fang Club expressed disbelief. Crazy. It's Lin Yu again. Lin Yu, the boss, actually put an 8th level equipment on the trading platform, and it's an attack type equipment with special effects. It's unbelievable. What did Lin Yu do? How did he put another high level equipment up for sale? Except for Lin Yu, no other professional on the trading platform has put up equipment above level 5. And Lin Yu alone has put up 3, 2 of which are supreme grade equipment. An 8th level supreme grade equipment. Can it only be dropped by killing an 8th level boss? My god, is Lin Yu really that powerful? This time, no one will say that the Wolf Fang Club was also picked up by Lin Yu. Picked up. It's one thing to pick up one piece of equipment, but how can you keep picking up one after another? We were all misled by the leader of the Hall of Kings. The snake armor was not picked up by Lin Yu, but dropped by him after killing a 7th level boss. From the beginning, we have greatly underestimated Lin Yu's strength. What nonsense is this apex level overlord? He can't do it himself, but he claims that others can't do it either. The leader of the Hall of Kings has led all of us into a pit. One thing can be confirmed, Lin Yu's unit's combat power is extremely terrifying, surpassing the golden behemoth of the leader of the Hall of Kings. I really want to know what kind of unit strength can surpass Huang Duobi Meng. Most likely it's the pure-blooded dragon race unit. Pure-blooded dragon. The dragon race units on the floating island are divided into 2 types. One is the orthodox dragon race. The other is the sub-dragon race. There are many orthodox dragon race units, such as the metal dragon, gem dragon, and elemental evil dragon, etc. There are also many types of sub-dragon race. Earth dragon, bipedal flying dragon, fish dragon, unicorn dragon beast, etc., all belong to the sub-dragon family. In terms of combat power, the sub-dragons are naturally not as good as the pure-blooded orthodox dragon race. However, so far, there has been no news of any overlord professional randomly obtaining a pure-blooded dragon race unit, and even the sub-dragon units are very rare. Many professionals in the chat channels are speculating that Lin Yu's unit is most likely a pure-blooded dragon race. With the combat power of a pure-blooded dragon, plus the advantage of flight, and the advantage of numbers, it is really possible to kill an 8th level boss monster. Of course, these are all speculations by professionals. No one knows what Lin Yu's unit really is. They can only guess that it is most likely a pure-blooded dragon, and there is a small probability that it is another extremely special apex level unit. But no matter what, Lin Yu's unit must be stronger than the golden behemoth. Because he killed a 7th level boss on the first day and an 8th level boss on the second day. This is something the leader of the golden behemoth cannot do. His golden behemoth simply does not have such combat power. So strong. I feel like Lin Yu is the real boss. There is no doubt about that. Can someone tell me how to get close to Lin Yu? I have been applying to be Lin Yu's friend since yesterday, but I have been rejected. It's like I've never been rejected. I've been rejected 3 times. +1. I've decided, I'm going to join Lin Yu. For battle professionals like us, we will eventually have to join under the banner of an overlord lord if we want to survive on the myriad worlds floating island. Lin Yu is the best choice. With Lin Yu backing us, our days will definitely be better. I'm just waiting for Lin Yu to establish an alliance. If Lin Yu wants to establish an alliance, I'll be the first to join. It's good to be under a big tree. Count me in. Agreed. By the way, has the steel sword that Lin Yu put up for sale before been bought? I wonder what blueprints Lin Yu got. It could be a warehouse, a fence, or an arrow tower. An overlord wants to upgrade their territory to a middle-level village, and having these 3 buildings is a prerequisite. I think Lin Yu is also in urgent need of these 3 building blueprints. I have a blueprint for a fence. I wonder if I can exchange it for Lin Yu's Wolf Fang Club. What nonsense are you talking about? The Wolf Fang Club is an 8th level supreme grade equipment. Exchanging it for 3 or 5 blueprints for a fence would be more than enough. If only I had a special blueprint, then I could take the opportunity to add Lin Yu as a friend and it would be convenient to join him in the future. Just go to sleep, you'll definitely find it in your dreams. I underestimated Lin Yu once again. While the chat channel was bustling with activity, the territory of the Hall of Kings guild leader was silent. This was the current mood of the youth. Feeling as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. When he saw the information about the Wolf Fang Club on the trading platform, the youth felt a chill rush from the top of his head and then spread throughout his body. He felt a coldness and a sense of horror. Because without even looking at the information in the chat channel, he could infer that he had underestimated Lin Yu. Lin Yu's troops were even stronger than he had imagined. They were definitely not something his golden behemoth could compare to. Damn it, what kind of troops does Lin Yu have? His combat power is so terrifying. It's only the 2nd day since he arrived on the floating island, and Lin Yu's troops can already kill an 8th level boss. It's like he's cheating. At this moment, the youth felt that he had encountered his greatest enemy in his lifetime. That enemy was Lin Yu. He had every reason to believe that Lin Yu would be the biggest obstacle for him to become the lord of the floating island in the future. If he didn't get rid of Lin Yu, he wouldn't be able to claim the position of lord. He can even kill an 8th level boss. Unless something unexpected happens, Lin Yu's level has probably already reached level 2. In terms of level, I am behind Lin Yu. The youth gritted his teeth and said, but I won't admit defeat. In any case, I have the strongest alliance on the island. In terms of power, Lin Yu can't compare to me. As long as I manage the Hall of Kings properly, I will definitely surpass Lin Yu. I must surpass him. At this moment, the youth felt a great sense of urgency. And he wasn't the only one. All the overlord professionals on the island felt uneasy and had an urgent desire to develop their territorial power. Now, Lin Yu could already kill an 8th level boss. His strength was much stronger than theirs. If they didn't develop faster, they would be left far behind by Lin Yu sooner or later. There was no hope of defeating Lin Yu's powerful army of super troops in the future battle for the island. To sum it up, Lin Yu has already surpassed all the overlord professionals. If I can surpass him, I can surpass all the overlords. Although we are all overlord professionals, unconsciously, Lin Yu has become the target I must strive to catch up with. It's not an exaggeration to say that he is a top-tier hidden expert. To catch up with Lin Yu. To make Lin Yu the target to surpass. It had almost become the voice of all the overlord professionals on the island. They could ignore the golden behemoth overlord, but they couldn't ignore Lin Yu. Because Lin Yu had achieved what none of them could. That was the gap. With a gap, they could only chase after him. At the same time, countless professionals also had the same thought, which was to use all their connections to find out Lin Yu's identity when they returned to the Blue Star. A super apex level overlord like Lin Yu would undoubtedly become a dominant force in the Myriad World's floating island if he didn't die prematurely. It would be better to make friends with such a person as early as possible. After all, the Myriad World's floating island was not just a game, but a real world. Without the protection of a big shot, it was still unknown whether they could become gods in the future, let alone leave the current floating island and enter the grand stage of the Myriad Worlds. Of course, there were also those who hoped that Lin Yu would hiccup sooner. There were quite a few people like that, either out of jealousy or simply seeing Lin Yu as a rival. But no matter what, Lin Yu's reputation on the island was resounding. When they returned to the Blue Star, his name would undoubtedly resound throughout the entire world. 4%. Chapter 23 Arrow Tower Drawings and Surprises. Hall of the Overlord. Lin Yu did not pay attention to the chat channel on the island. Without even thinking, he knew that the chat channel must be very lively now. Within a short period of time, tens of thousands of professionals applied to be his friends, including self-proclaimed school flowers and goddesses. This also indicated that his popularity on Floating Island had increased significantly. However, Lin Yu ignored them all. At this stage, women only affected the speed at which he could summon angels. Besides, what do school flowers have to do with angelic fragrance? At this moment, Lin Yu's gaze fell on the blueprint brought back by Ayada. His expression was somewhat complicated. There was a hint of regret, but also an unmistakable joy. Because, it was a blueprint for an arrow tower. His regret was that it didn't reveal a higher level or more special blueprint, like the blacksmith shop blueprint. His joy was that the arrow tower was exactly what he needed right now. Territory construction blueprint. Type. Arrow tower. Usage. 3 times each time can build a low-level arrow tower. Construction requirements. 100 units of wood, 50 units of stone. Special reminder. The arrow tower is the basic defensive structure of the territory. With it, your territory will have the most basic defensive capability. However, do not rely solely on the arrow tower for the safety of your territory. Troops are the core weapon for guarding the territory. It can be used 3 times. In other words, this blueprint can allow me to build 3 arrow towers. Lin Yu had always been curious why each blueprint had a usage on it. Now he understood that some blueprints could be reused. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately went outside the territory. He directly built 3 arrow towers near the spirit field. After using up the 3 usages, the arrow tower blueprint in his hand turned into countless starlight and disappeared. This will be the main entrance to my territory in the future. The defensive strength must be strengthened. As for other areas of the territory, I'll consider building them after obtaining new arrow tower blueprints. As he spoke, 3 arrow towers appeared not far away out of thin air. They were made entirely of wood and were about 6 meters tall. At the top of each arrow tower, there were 3 longbows set up, which didn't require manual control or additional preparation of arrows. Under the influence of the rules of the floating island, defensive structures like the arrow tower had the ability to automatically reload and automatically attack nearby enemies. As long as they weren't knocked down or destroyed. The arrow towers would continue to attack hostile units without stopping. This was quite amazing. Now that the arrow towers have been built, only the fence is left. The closer he got to the final step, the more urgent Lin Yu's mood became. He wished the angel squad would immediately drop a fence blueprint so that he could upgrade his territory synchronously. However, Lin Yu also knew that getting a blueprint was not something that could be rushed. It all depended on luck. If luck was good, it was possible to obtain blueprints by hunting low-level monsters. If luck was bad, then he could only pray to the goddess of luck. Lin Yu opened the island trading platform. He glanced at the remaining time for the snake scale to be listed. In a few hours, the flash sale period for the snake scale will be over, and I'll auction it directly. The flash sale price of 3,000 gold coins was obviously too extravagant for any professional, so he could only choose to auction it again. With the current financial strength of professionals, it's impossible to sell it for several thousand gold coins. My bottom line is 1,000 gold coins. If a professional can offer 1,000 gold coins to bid for the snake scale, I'll sell it directly. The value of the snake scale couldn't be measured by just 1,000 gold coins. But Lin Yu couldn't keep holding onto it either. In 1 or 2 weeks, the snake scale could indeed be sold for a high price, but the time was too long, and Lin Yu didn't want to wait. He had already made up his mind to sell the snake scale. Even if he really only sold it for 1,000 gold coins, it would be enough for him to summon 22 winged angels. 22 winged angels can definitely create greater value for him within 1 or 2 weeks. Whether it's the possibility of obtaining blueprints, equipment, or leveling up, the profits will far exceed those thousands of gold coins. It may seem like a loss, but in reality, it's not a loss at all. Lin Yu muttered to himself, individual professionals cannot obtain 1,000 gold coins in just one day, but those alliance leaders have a large number of alliance members under their command. With the help of the alliance leader's identity, it shouldn't be a problem to obtain a batch of gold coins from those alliance members. Therefore, achieving the minimum price of 1,000 gold coins is completely possible. He would feel heartbroken if the snake scales were sold too cheaply. He could only hope that the alliance leaders would be smart enough to think of ways to obtain gold coins. In that case, the snake scales would be able to sell. Time quickly passed, and it was already noon. The auction for the snake scales hadn't started yet, but the angel squad had already given Lin Yu a surprise. Of course, it wasn't another blueprint or equipment that was obtained, but rather the successful implementation of his plan to deal with the goblin tribes, tit-for-tat, strategy. An hour ago, the goblins, including Lewin, successfully returned to the goblin tribe. Not returning home for one night wasn't a big deal in itself. However, Lewin and a few other goblins were summoned by the goblin chieftain for questioning. This was because the tribe had inexplicably lost over 100 goblins from yesterday until now. This was a big problem. Facing the questioning of the goblin chieftain, Lewin calmly explained the cause and effect of the matter. He claimed that they accidentally discovered a cave belonging to the Grey Dwarves. The cave contained a large amount of food reserves. The goblins that disappeared yesterday were guarding the food. However, because night fell, they didn't dare to return to the tribe at night. This time, they came back to lead the tribe members to transport the food. After listening to Lewin's account, the goblin chieftain was very excited. He didn't doubt the truthfulness of Lewin's words at all. Because he believed that Lewin, a goblin, wouldn't dare to lie to him, let alone betray the goblin tribe. After all, without the protection of the tribe, where could the weak goblins go? Join other races. That would be suicidal, and their future days would only be more miserable. Moreover, the goblin chieftain's limited intelligence prevented him from thinking in that direction at all. He happily dispatched a team of goblin warriors, plus over 100 ordinary goblins, to go to the cave of the Grey Dwarves with Lewin and the others. Lewin, you have made great contributions. After successfully transporting the food back, I will return the glory belonging to your father, Goblin Koke, to you and help you become a true goblin warrior. The goblin chieftain patted Lewin's shoulder and said. Lewin nodded busily. Chieftain, rest assured, I will definitely succeed in transporting all the food back. Without waiting for the goblin chieftain to say anything else, he quickly led the long string of goblin troops out of the tribe. Right now, he just wanted to see the Lord of Holy Light as soon as possible. To avoid any accidents. Fortunately, there were no unexpected incidents along the way. Nearly 200 goblins were successfully brought into the angel squad's encirclement. Before those goblins could react, the blazing holy flames surrounded them, and dazzling holy light descended from the sky, enveloping all the goblins. Within the holy light, there was the purifying power of the holy flames. Under the control of the 9 angels, the holy light, combined with the power of the holy flames, began to forcibly purify the souls of the goblins. Due to the absence of level differences, purification became very simple. In less than 5 minutes, nearly 200 goblins present had all become Lin Yu's followers, and their faith levels had also reached the level of fanaticism. Faith levels: ordinary follower, true follower, devout follower, fanatic follower, Holy Spirit follower. Greetings, Lord of Holy Light. Praise the great Lord of Holy Light, may the Holy Light be eternal. After the purification ceremony, nearly 200 goblins knelt down in unison, creating a spectacular scene. Then, Ayada called Goblin Luin again. Now, you return to the Goblin tribe and say that you were intercepted by the Grey Dwarves while transporting food and need immediate support. Yes, my Lord of Holy Light. Luin returned to the tribe with a team of goblins, full of excitement. Not long after, the Goblin tribe suffered another large loss of goblins. 4%. Chapter 24. Only the Holy Light can protect the Goblin tribe. Damn Grey Dwarves. Our Goblin tribe will never rest until we've dealt with you. In the meeting hall of the Goblin tribe, the short-statured Goblin chieftain was angrily shouting. His anger was so intense that it even stirred the magical energy in the air, creating a faint red cloud in the sky. Witnessing this scene, the goblins in the tribe became immediately fearful and uneasy. Their chieftain was a fire mage who controlled the element of fire. The appearance of the anomaly in the sky represented the chieftain's extreme anger. Even the timid goblins were afraid that the chieftain would bring the terrifying fire elemental magic upon their tribe, which would be a disaster for them. Fortunately, the phenomenon of the fire cloud did not last long. As the chieftain's roar subsided, the fire cloud gradually disappeared. Chieftain. In the tribe's hall, a muscular goblin warrior said, "Please give us your orders. This grudge must be avenged with the blood of the Grey Dwarves." Chieftain, we must seek revenge for our fallen tribesmen. Several goblins gathered in the hall. Each of them was a level 6 or 7 goblin warrior. There were even 2 level 8 commanding goblins among them. At this moment, all the goblins were filled with righteous indignation, eager to confront the Grey Dwarves and vent their anger. Because the cunning Grey Dwarves had caused heavy losses to their tribe. The so-called food stored in the cave was nothing more than a plot by the Grey Dwarves to deal with their goblin tribe. In the morning, they sent a group of goblins to transport the food from the cave. But soon, news came back that the team had been attacked by the Grey Dwarves. To rescue the food transport team, the Goblin chieftain sent another group of goblins, although their numbers were not large, each one was an elite. As a result, this group also fell into the hands of the Grey Dwarves. Combined, they lost over 200 goblins. Adding to that the goblins who had gone missing, overnight, the day before, their tribe had already lost about 400 goblins. It should be noted that their entire tribe had only a little over 700 goblins. Losing more than half of their numbers in one fell swoop, how could they not be angry? Lunin. At this moment, the Goblin chieftain glared fiercely at the Goblin Lunin and angrily said, "If it weren't for the information you brought back, the tribe wouldn't have suffered such great losses." Until now, he had never doubted Lunin. Nor did he ever consider that Lunin would betray the tribe. Because he believed that their enemy was the Grey Dwarves. Throughout history, goblins and Grey Dwarves had always been mortal enemies. As a goblin, Lunin had no reason to betray the tribe and join the Grey Dwarves. The Goblin chieftain only believed that all of this was a trap set by the Grey Dwarves for their tribe, and the foolish Lunin had simply brought back the information. "You despicable Lunin, why wasn't it you who died?" The other goblins in the hall also cast angry glances at Lunin. Faced with their anger, Lunin lowered his head. His body trembled as he continuously apologized and blamed himself. But the truth was, his inner world was very calm, even a little excited. Because he had perfectly completed the task given to him by the Lord of Holy Light. When the time came, when the holy envoys led their troops to attack, he and the 30-odd goblin warriors who had, luckily returned, could join forces and capture the goblin tribe in one fell swoop. Although this was his tribe, he did not believe that he had done anything wrong. On the contrary, he believed that he was leading the tribe onto a brighter path. Only by believing in the holy light could the goblin tribe have a glorious future. When he was in the Goblin tribe before, He couldn't eat enough, couldn't keep warm, and was often threatened by other intelligent races, such as the evil and powerful two-headed ogres. But in the territory of the Lord of Holy Light, he had a delicious meat meal on his first night. With the protection of the Lord of Holy Light, he had no worries about safety. Even when sleeping outdoors, he had no fear whatsoever. He firmly believed that the Lord of Holy Light would definitely make their goblin clan prosperous and thriving. So, when he received the follow-up tasks from Lord Envoy Ayata, he hesitated not and led a whole team of goblin warriors to escape back to the tribe, preparing for the upcoming grand plan. The goblin chieftain's anger did not diminish as he angrily said, "Foolish goblin Lunan, you have completely lost the qualification to inherit your father's glory. You are not worthy of being a goblin warrior. Chieftain, please calm down." Goblin Lunan said fearfully, "I will definitely repent and make up for the losses of the tribe." Make up? How can a mere goblin warrior make up for the tribe? I wish I could kill you right now. The goblin chieftain angrily said, "Get out of here, leave this meeting hall that carries countless glory. I don't want to see you for a while." "All right, chieftain." Goblin Lunan immediately ran out without looking back. Watching his hurried departure, the goblin chieftain's anger increased, but he couldn't find a place to vent. "Chieftain, what should we do now? Should we immediately gather our existing forces and go to war with the cunning and treacherous Grey Dwarves?" "We must go to war, we must. Otherwise, it will be difficult to calm the panic in the tribe. But if we go to war, we are likely not a match for the Grey Dwarf tribe. The losses of the tribe today are already significant. If we rashly go to war with the Grey Dwarf tribe, it will only lead our tribe into irreparable ruin. Yes, we must not rashly start a war." The goblins in the hall were talking incessantly, annoying the goblin chieftain. "Enough." The goblin chieftain couldn't help but roar, "All of you, get out. I need some peace and quiet." Faced with the raging chieftain, the goblins could only sigh and leave. After all the goblins had left the hall, the goblin chieftain sat back on his chieftain throne with a dejected expression and muttered to himself, "The losses of the tribe are so severe, going to war is a path to death. The only thing I can do now is to shrink the tribe's territorial defenses. We can't let those Grey Dwarves succeed anymore. As long as I am here in the tribe, those Grey Dwarves won't dare to come and attack." The goblin chieftain had confidence in his own strength. But he couldn't imagine that the series of events that had occurred had nothing to do with the Grey Dwarf tribe. The Grey Dwarves were innocent victims. What he couldn't even imagine was the nearly 400 goblins lost by the tribe not only didn't die, but they all turned into units of the enemy forces. And most importantly, the enemy forces could attack at any time. Compared to the gloomy mood of the goblin chieftain, Lin Yu, the mastermind behind the events, was very happy. In the blink of an eye, the number of his followers had skyrocketed from just over 100 yesterday to nearly 400, half of whom were goblin warriors, elite troops ready for battle. His territorial power had greatly increased. The power of the goblin tribe had been severely weakened. Naturally, he was in a good mood. Once, twice, but not 3 times. The story of the boy who cried wolf won't fool anyone the 3rd time. It's no longer realistic to weaken the goblin tribe's power using this method. Next, we need to attack head-on. Lin Yu discussed the matter of attacking the goblin tribe with Ayata, who was hunting outside. Finally, the time for the attack was set. At the moment when the sun rises tomorrow morning, Ayata and Sally needed to intensify their hunting and reach level 7 before returning to the territory at night, in order to defeat the goblin chieftain who was a level 9 elemental mage. Lin Yu also wanted to see if he could obtain the fence blueprint today. If he could get it, he could upgrade his territory and summon the 4-winged angel. With the help of the 4-winged angel, capturing the goblin tribe would be even more secure. 4%. Chapter 25 Crazy Bidding. The time is almost up. Lin Yu opened the island trading platform. On the platform, there were only a few minutes left for the flash sale of snake scale. 24 hours had passed, and no professional could produce 3,000 gold coins to snatch that snake scale, so it could only be auctioned. Except for Lin Yu. At this moment, countless professionals also turned their attention to the trading platform. They were all paying attention to the snake scale. Whether they had the intention to participate in the bidding or just wanted to join in the fun, it showed that Lin Yu's publicity plan was very successful. The more people paying attention, the higher the final transaction price of the snake scale. Soon, a few minutes passed, and the unsold snake scale was forced to be taken off the shelves and returned to Lin Yu's hands. Without hesitation, he put the snake scale back on the shelves. The trading was set to bidding mode. The starting price was 600 gold coins, and each bid had to be at least 10 gold coins. The bidding duration was 1 hour. Compared to the staggering 3,000 gold coins for the flash sale, the starting price for the bidding of the snake scale was only a quarter of that, which could be considered a huge discount. However, it was very abnormal. 10 minutes had passed, and not a single professional participated in the bidding. This made Lin Yu somewhat puzzled. Island chat channel. It seems like Lin Yu is going to be embarrassed. 10 minutes have passed, and not a single participant in the bidding. Lin Yu is definitely going to be furious. Why would he be furious? With such a supreme grade equipment, if it can't be sold, he can just wear it himself. On the contrary, if it is sold, I would feel sorry for Lin Yu. The problem is, Lin Yu is an overlord. At this stage, the overlord doesn't even need to wear equipment. Even if it's a real divine weapon, it's not as useful as exchanging it for gold coins to summon more troops. Agreed. If I were Lin Yu, I would sell that snake scale too. With gold coins, he can summon more troops and obtain more equipment. The profits he can make during this period will far exceed the value of that snake scale. But the problem is, that snake scale is already up for auction, and yet no one is interested. I even suspect that those big shots have conspired not to participate in the bidding, not giving Lin Yu the opportunity to obtain gold coins and expand his troops. That's possible. When Lin Yu saw this message, he also had the same thought. Could it be that the big shots on the island were really teaming up to suppress him? This was not impossible. After all, he was already powerful enough. Some professionals even called him the strongest overlord on the island. Under such circumstances, it was completely reasonable for those overlords who saw him as a competitor or the combat professionals to join forces to suppress him. If that snake scale couldn't be sold, he wouldn't get a large sum of gold coins. Naturally, he wouldn't be able to expand his troops. This could indeed delay his development speed. Another 10 minutes passed. It was almost half an hour since that snake scale was put up for auction. But so far, no one had participated in the bidding for that snake scale. The bidding price had remained at the starting price of 600 gold coins without any changes. However, Lin Yu was not in a hurry. Even if his speculation was true and there were certain people on the island teaming up to suppress him, resulting in that snake scale not being sold, it didn't matter. He had a trump card in his hand and would soon become truly wealthy. After all, that snake scale was just a piece of equipment. Once the blacksmith shop officially started production, he would be selling equipment in batches. Because that snake scale was a high-level supreme-grade equipment, its value was beyond the reach of ordinary professionals. But if it was ordinary equipment produced in batches, suitable for the general professionals, it would definitely be snatched up by countless professionals. At that time, he would make a fortune. In addition, Lin Yu had another speculation. The so-called team up to suppress was just a baseless rumor. The real reason was that those professionals who wanted to bid for that snake scale didn't dare to participate too early in the auction to avoid driving up the price of that snake scale to an unaffordable level. This probability also existed. Of course, no matter what the final result is, it won't be a loss for Lin Yu. That's his only thought right now. Sell it if it can be sold, keep it if it can't be sold. Such a supreme grade equipment can't be sold. What a joke. The golden behemoth overlord, who roams the great grasslands, couldn't help but burst into laughter when he saw that the equipment snake armor didn't receive any bids for half an hour. He felt all the frustration he had received from Lin Yu in the past 2 days was released at this moment. Speaking of which, who is suppressing Lin Yu? Why haven't I received any information? As the leader of the strongest alliance, Hall of Kings, on the island, if someone is secretly manipulating this event, they would definitely inform him. After all, if he participated in the bidding, the plan would fail. But the problem is, no one has come to him at all. The young man couldn't figure it out, but fortunately, he didn't think about it either. For him, as long as snake armor doesn't sell, it's a great thing. Time passed again. In the blink of an eye, there were only 5 minutes left until the end of the bidding for snake armor. But at this moment, the starting price that had remained unchanged suddenly increased by 10 gold coins. It felt as if someone couldn't help but make a move at this point. Damn, who's causing trouble at this time? The young man couldn't help but curse, feeling quite angry. He wasn't happy to see Lin Yu making money. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. At the same time, the island's chat channel exploded. Some people were sending messages to celebrate. Others felt extremely disappointed at this moment. These people, whether out of jealousy towards Lin Yu or because they didn't want to see Lin Yu expand his territory after becoming rich again, for whatever reason, their mood was not good. They cursed the person who participated in the bidding one after another. But soon, something even more annoying happened. This bidding was like sounding the charge. In the next minute, the number of bids jumped more than 20 times, causing the bidding price to soar to over 800 gold coins. And most importantly, the upward trend showed no signs of slowing down. Another minute later, the bidding price broke through the 1,000 gold coin mark, making the overlord professionals who couldn't recruit troops due to a lack of gold coins envy and hate. 1,000 gold coins, how many troops could be recruited with that? If we calculate with low-level troops, that's a full 200 troops. Big Boss Lin Yu is amazing. After selling the snake armor, he can recruit dozens of apex-level troops immediately. Too terrifying. I randomly obtained low-level troops, and I only have about 30 of them now. I can't imagine how terrifying it would be to have dozens of apex-level troops like Big Boss Lin Yu. I'm afraid he can even conquer the strongholds of the local intelligent creatures, right? That's too exaggerated. The initial level of apex-level troops is level 4. Even if dozens of apex-level troops are combined, it's basically impossible to capture the strongholds of the intelligent creatures. By the way, who are the professionals participating in the bidding? They're so rich. I only know that our Summer Night Alliance leader is one of them. Early this morning, our leader borrowed gold coins in the Alliance channel, definitely for bidding on the snake armor. Borrowing. What a sly move. No need to be surprised, it's just basic tactics. Our Purple Magnolia Alliance leader also borrowed, otherwise, where would they get so many gold coins to participate in the bidding? Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. Hall of the Overlord. Lin Yu was also watching the bidding price rise continuously. These people really did wait until the last few minutes to make a move. But no matter what, the bidding price has already exceeded 1,000 gold coins. It's not lower than my bottom line, so I can sell it. Lin Yu had already prepared for the auction to fail, but he didn't expect there to be so many rich people. It was something worth celebrating. 1 two-winged angel, 50 gold coins. I wonder how many two-winged angels I can summon after the bidding ends. 4%. Chapter 26. I'm so convinced by this sixth man. The closer it gets to the deadline, the more intense the bidding for the snake scale becomes. Every guild leader participating in the bidding is determined to win the snake scale. After all, the coins in their hands are all borrowed. Even Lin Yu, who possesses an apex level unit, has only obtained less than 400 coins since yesterday, let alone others. Without coins, they can only borrow. And borrowed coins must be repaid. Regardless of whether they successfully bid for the snake scale or not, they have to repay the borrowed coins, plus the promised interest. Otherwise, their position as guild leaders will be in jeopardy. If they can successfully bid for the snake scale this time, they will make a profit. Because the value of the snake scale is extremely high, in 1 or 2 weeks, this level 7 supreme grade equipment can be sold for several thousand coins. Buying it means making a big profit. If they can't buy it, not only do they have to repay the money, but they also have to pay interest. Naturally, they have to fight desperately. Although there seems to be only a few minutes left, for the guild leaders participating in the bidding, it feels like an eternity. The fierce competition has resulted in prices higher than they could have imagined. By the last 10 seconds, the bidding price for the snake scale had reached nearly 1,700 coins, causing almost all professionals paying attention to the bidding to gasp in astonishment. Especially for those overlord professionals, including but not limited to the golden behemoth overlord, their eyes turned red with envy. Nearly 1,700 coins, how many units can be recruited with that? However, it didn't end there. Just 2 seconds before the bidding ended, the bidding price skyrocketed to 1,800 coins. An increase of over 100 coins. Clearly, this bidder was trying to seal the deal and not give others a chance. And in the end, the bidding price of 1,800 coins indeed allowed this bidder to successfully obtain the snake scale, bringing joy to both the bidder and Lin Yu. The only ones not happy are probably the other guild leaders participating in the bidding. Damn it, one guild leader angrily said. In order to bid for the snake scale, I borrowed a total of 1,500 coins from Alliance members, but I still failed. This guy, I'm so frustrated. Another guild leader cursed. I borrowed a total of 2,000 coins from Alliance members 3 times in a row. I thought I had it in the bag, but in the end, this guy showed up. Before the bidding ended, his bid was 1,680 coins. It was the highest bid at the time. He was already prepared to secure the snake scale. But he didn't expect that in the last 2 seconds, someone would directly bid 1,800 coins. Clearly, they were trying to snatch the crystal by force. When he saw this price, he immediately thought of a higher price, but he was still a step too slow. Because the bidding ended before he could finish his bid. He was extremely angry about this. If he had been given enough time, the snake scale would definitely be his. After all, he had 2,000 coins in his hands. Just because of a momentary negligence, he was stolen by this guy, and it was too late to regret. The guild leader couldn't help but pound his chest and stomp his feet in anger, shouting, "If I had known there was this guy, I wouldn't have been stingy. I would have directly bid 2,000 coins and see who could compete with me." He deeply experienced the pain of being careless. The auction was very successful. At least Lin Yu thought so. Because he was extremely satisfied with the final transaction price. The transaction price of 1,800 coins was beyond his expectations. He originally thought that a price of around 1,000 coins for the snake scale would be good enough. But he didn't expect that there were so many rich people. At the same time, it also shows that he underestimated the money-making ability of certain alliance leaders. Networking is also one of the important resources. Those alliance leaders, whether borrowing or scamming, can easily obtain so many gold coins because they have a large number of connections in their hands. If you lack gold coins, just borrow from alliance members. Anyway, it won't be paid back right away. At most, it's just throwing out a piece of promise. However, after obtaining a large number of gold coins, the development speed of those alliance leaders will skyrocket, and they will then receive huge profits. Borrowing someone else's chicken to lay your own eggs. This abacus can be heard even on Blue Star. But I don't need to do such things. Even if I establish an alliance, I don't need to borrow gold coins from alliance members. After I settle the goblin tribe and bring the blacksmith over, I can start mass producing equipment and sell them on the platform. The speed and sustainability of making money as an equipment merchant is faster and more lasting than borrowing. Lin Yu shook his head and didn't think about it anymore. The information prompt from the floating island appeared in his mind. Congratulations, Overlord, your equipment, snake armor, that was listed on the trading platform has been successfully sold. The 1,800 gold coins from the auction have been deposited into your territory's warehouse, please check. Myriad World's floating island is a real world. There are no transaction fees, and there are no middlemen making a profit from the price difference. You get as much as you sell. Lin Yu opened the warehouse information and glanced at the reserve of gold coins. 1,837. The remainder was from the previous reserve, not enough to summon an angel, so it was saved. 1,800 gold coins can summon 36 two-winged angels. Thinking of this, Lin Yu couldn't help but take a breath, feeling excited. Without hesitation, he immediately entered the Hall of the Overlord and communicated with the floating island, opening the black hole to summon the angels. Whether it was his illusion or because it was the first time summoning so many angels, Lin Yu suddenly felt a strange feeling when he saw the black hole. He felt that the black hole in front of him was different. Before Lin Yu could think too much, graceful and charming figures flew out of the black hole. Standard angel armor, holding a flaming angel sword, with a pair of snow-white angel wings on their backs, and emitting a holy radiance. At first glance, they were all stunningly beautiful. 36 beautiful two-winged angels. Not one more, not one less. Greetings, Lord Overlord. May the Holy Lord be eternal, and may the Holy Light be ever present. The angels gathered in the Hall of the Overlord, respectfully saluting Lin Yu. In each pair of golden eyes, there was reverence and fanaticism towards Lin Yu. This was a scene that could shake people's hearts. Those who hadn't experienced it firsthand couldn't understand how Lin Yu felt at this moment. And any words couldn't describe his current mood. It wasn't until a long time later that Lin Yu regained the calmness of his inner world and said to the dozens of beautiful angels gathered before him, "The radiance and faith will be guarded by all of you. I also look forward to the day when the angel race will revive in this world. Praise you, the Supreme Lord of Holy Light. We will follow in your footsteps and spread the holy light throughout countless worlds." The angels bowed down even more excitedly in front of Lin Yu. Lin Yu could clearly sense that a large amount of faith power emerged from each angel and finally converged into his body. The faith power from the angels far exceeded that of the goblin believers. Because angels are born as the highest level of Holy Spirit believers. This is also why goblin believers call angels, Lord of Holy Light. The title of Lord is only qualified to be worn by Holy Spirit level believers. Go. Lin Yu nodded slightly and said to the group of two-winged angels, go to the wilderness and join the angel squad. Ayata will tell you about this world. Yes, Lord Overlord. The angels respectfully exited the hall of the Overlord. Then, flapping their snow-white angel wings, they flew up into the sky and disappeared like streaks of starlight in the distance. 5%. Chapter 27 Technology Products that restrict entry to the island. Summoning 36 angels at once. Plus the angel squad. I now have a total of 45 two-winged angels under my command. In that moment, Lin Yu couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. A hunting team consisting of 45 super apex level units was undoubtedly the strongest on the entire floating island. It was unlikely that any overlord possessed such a powerful army. Lin Yu was confident in this. However, I shouldn't be arrogant. Being stronger than professionals is useless. Surpassing the local forces on the island is what matters most. After all, the local forces are the biggest obstacle to professionals taking over the island. Lin Yu was clear-headed and not blinded by temporary strength. He was well aware of his current position. Although he was stronger than other professionals, his current power was still insignificant compared to the local forces on the island. At most, he could only deal with small forces like the Goblin tribe. But if he were to go to war with the dual-headed demon tribe, which had a king-level powerhouse, he would be the one defeated. No need to rush. At this rate of development, I will soon have the power to take down the dual-headed demon tribe. Then, I will start conquering this entire jungle. Lin Yu was very satisfied with his current rate of progress. Although the level of his territory was forcibly restricted due to issues with blueprints, at least the scale of his exclusive units had expanded. Exclusive units were the core of a territory. Being able to increase their numbers rapidly was something to be happy about. In the following period of time, Lin Yu checked the island chat channel while collecting more information about this floating island and other professionals. At the same time, he opened the island trading platform and listed the beast meat for sale. His goblin followers had been dissecting the bodies of monsters since early morning, and the goblin followers who went out with the angel squad were continuously bringing back the hunted monster carcasses. The work of dissecting monster carcasses was ongoing. Every once in a while, the stockpile of beast meat in the warehouse would increase. Lin Yu dealt with the beast meat by keeping the necessary rations and listing the rest on the island trading platform to exchange for wood, stone, and iron ore. These three basic resources were extremely important. They were needed for upgrading the territory and constructing territory buildings. Having a larger reserve would only bring benefits without any drawbacks. This way, there would be no need to worry about insufficient reserves when they were really needed, which would be troublesome. In addition to listing the meat, Lin Yu also searched for things he needed on the island trading platform, such as fence blueprints and spirit rice seeds. Unfortunately, he couldn't find any bargains until the afternoon. As more professionals on the island embarked on hunting, the number of blueprints, equipment, and spirit rice seeds on the trading platform increased. But that didn't mean the prices went down. To obtain these things, one still needed to pay a considerable amount of gold coins. This was determined by market demand. Coupled with the fact that the monster drop rate on the floating island was already low, it was unlikely that prices would decrease. Scarcity makes things valuable. Professionals who are lucky enough to obtain these items are not willing to lower the prices. Even if they can't sell them, they are not in a hurry. Especially blueprints and spirit rice seeds, they are considered rare treasures. Equipment trades, on the other hand, happen from time to time. The equipment that dropped at this stage was mostly low-level equipment, slightly better than the initial equipment given on the floating island, so naturally, the prices weren't that high. Professionals with some capital would buy them. Compared to the high prices of blueprints, the equipment was in somewhat short supply. It's almost time. Tomorrow morning, I will attack the Goblin tribe. With a blacksmith, I can mass-produce equipment and make a big profit on the trading platform. Another batch of hundreds of units of beast meat was listed on the trading platform. Lin Yu suddenly felt a bit bored. Since arriving, he had been staying in his territory and had never gone out. Not unwilling, but the wilderness is too dangerous. The angel squad has been hunting from morning until afternoon, and during that time, they have joined a total of 36 two-winged angels, greatly increasing their hunting speed. A rough estimate shows that the Angel Squad has already killed over 1,000 wild monsters of different levels. However, Lin Yu's level is still at level 2. It's probably in the mid-level of level 2. There is still a gap to be bridged before he can advance to a level 3 professional. However, even if his level reaches level 3, he will still easily encounter danger in the wilderness. At this stage, the territory is the safest place. As an overlord, the main role is to stay behind and strategize. This requires enduring loneliness. At the same time, it is also a way to temper the temperament of an overlord. Lin Yu comforts himself in this way. Of course, it would be best if he had a cell phone or a computer right now. Unfortunately, the rules of the floating island do not allow technological products to appear on the island. Therefore, the professionals of Blue Star have no way to bring things like cell phones, computers, or even hot weapons to the island. This is normal. Let's not talk about cell phones and computers. If someone brings in equipment that emits blue flames, it will undoubtedly slaughter the low-level monsters on the island, which is no different from cheating. And if they bring in a giant mushroom, it would be even more terrifying. Lin Yu shudders at the thought. Once the giant mushroom appears, it will surely bring destruction. Not to mention king-level powerhouses, even transcendent-level local powerhouses would be helpless. Perhaps only saint-rank powerhouses who have mastered their domains, or even demigods, can withstand the terrifying destructive power of the giant mushroom. During his boredom, Lin Yu walks out of the Hall of the Overlord and waves to a nearby goblin disciple. Receiving the summons from the Lord of Holy Light, the goblin disciple becomes excited and puts down his work to run over. "Oh great God, what do you command? Don't be nervous, I just want to chat with you." Lin Yu looks at the goblin disciple, who is only about 1.23 meters tall, with a gentle smile. The first time he saw a goblin, no matter from which angle, he found these creatures really unpleasant because goblins are truly ugly. But now, he inexplicably finds goblins somewhat cute. The ugly appearance cannot hide the goblin's fanatical loyalty to him, which is an important factor in changing Lin Yu's impression of the goblin race. After hearing Lin Yu's words, the goblin disciple becomes somewhat at a loss. He has no idea how to chat with the great Lord of Holy Light. So in the end, he just answers whatever Lin Yu asks. "What is your name?" "Ing to the Overlord, my name is Zha. How many people are there in your family?" "Ah, Overlord, I don't have anyone in my family. From birth until now, I have never seen a human because humans rarely appear in this jungle." Let's change the question. "Zha, do you have any dreams?" "Aha, Overlord, I have a dream. Before, my dream was to become a powerful goblin leader and fight for the glory of the tribe. But now, my dream is to forever follow the great Lord of Holy Light." That is a very noble dream. With each question and answer, evening quickly arrives. From the goblin Zha, Lin Yu also learns a lot of information about this jungle. This jungle is called the Dark Forest. It is ruled by 4 powerful transcendent level forces. They are the Giant Kingdom, the Bone Temple, the Naga Kingdom, and the Elf Garden. Based on Zha's vivid description, Lin Yu realizes that compared to these 4 transcendent level forces, the twin-headed demon tribe that he has always feared is actually just a small tribe. 5%. Chapter 28 Overlord is the master, Lin Yu is the big master. The area of the Dark Forest is extremely vast. It stretches for countless thousands of miles. Within this vast forest, there are countless wild monsters and numerous strongholds built by indigenous intelligent creatures. These strongholds are scattered throughout the Dark Forest. The Goblin tribe, the 2-headed demon tribe, and the defeated Grey Dwarf tribe are just a small part of them. These tribes seem to rule over a certain area and have their own territories, but in the entire Dark Forest, their power is insignificant. Especially compared to the 4 transcendent level forces, they can be considered weak and vulnerable. Only in the face of newly arrived professionals can they be called powerful. Based on the vague account of the goblin Zago, Lin Yu roughly learned that the 4 transcendent level forces are stationed in the 4 directions of the Dark Forest. The Giant Kingdom guards the western region. The Bone Temple guards the southern region. The Elf Garden guards the eastern region. The Naga Kingdom guards the southern region. These 4 forces have joined forces to block off the entire Dark Forest, preventing external forces from intervening and internal forces from expanding. Of course, this is based on the account of a small goblin. Whether it is true or not, remains unknown. But Lin Yu feels that this is probably just a legend and does not exist in reality. Because on the Blue Stars, Professional Forum. The first group of professionals who arrived on other floating islands revealed that the highest local combat power on the floating islands is the peak demigod. Only after leaving the floating islands and entering the grand stage of myriad worlds is it possible to encounter the eternal true god. Compared to the current third-level goblin warrior, Lin Yu is more inclined to believe the information revealed by the veteran professionals. My territory is located in the western part of the Dark Forest. The highest ruler in this area is the Giant Kingdom. This is very important information. If nothing unexpected happens, if Lin Yu wants to conquer the Dark Forest in the future, the first thing he needs to do is to eliminate the Giant Kingdom. After all, they are so close. When Lin Yu's territory develops to the extent that it can threaten the Giant Kingdom, even if he doesn't declare war, the Giant Kingdom will send a large army to suppress his territorial power. There can't be two tigers on one mountain. Nor can there be two powerful forces in one region. But this is something for the future, no need to consider it now. Lin Yu didn't think too much about it. Instead of worrying about the threat from the Giant Kingdom, he might as well think about his plan to eliminate the two-headed demon tribe. With Lin Yu's territory as the center, within a radius of dozens of kilometers of mountains and forests, there are three local forces. They are the Goblin tribe, the Grey Dwarf tribe, and the two-headed demon tribe. The strength of the first two tribes is comparable, and their chiefs are both 9th-level professionals. The two-headed demon tribe is the strongest, with a chief who is a king-level powerhouse. If he can eliminate the two-headed demon tribe, this area of dozens of kilometers of forest and mountains will basically fall into Lin Yu's hands, and he can do whatever he wants. In his contemplation, Lin Yu also had a preliminary plan in his mind. The night on the floating island came very quickly. The afterglow of the sun had not completely disappeared, and the sky quickly darkened at a visible speed. In less than half an hour, it was pitch black outside the territory. In this environment, the vision of professionals would be greatly limited, which was not conducive to hunting. On the contrary, the impact on wild monsters was minimal, and they would become unusually active. If professionals didn't find a safe place quickly, they were likely to be attacked by wild monsters. In this pitch-black world, they wouldn't even know how they died. Fortunately, the newcomers on the island remembered the lesson from last night. Before nightfall, they quickly entered their hiding place. Of course, these were the miserable combat professionals. As for overlord professionals, they had their own territory for protection and didn't have to worry about being attacked by wild monsters, let alone waste time looking for shelter. And at times like this, the chat channel would be filled with envy towards overlord professionals. Another night of jealousy towards Overlord Sama. I really want to know what an Overlord professional's territory looks like. Is there any kind-hearted Overlord Sama who can reveal their coordinates so that as combat professionals can visit and broaden our horizons? High EQ. Visit the territory. Low EQ. Rob resources. At this stage, I'm afraid no Overlord dares to reveal their coordinates, including Apex-level Overlords like Lin Yu. That's the truth. Before the Overlord Army Corps developed, a group of fully armed combat professionals could easily sweep through the Overlord territory. Hey, don't provoke the relationship between us combat professionals and Overlord professionals. It's well known that Overlord Sama's territory is the safest haven for us combat professionals. Joining Overlord Sama is what we most want to do. Saying it like it's true. The professional forum has long had rumors about similar news. On Floating Island with the code 013724, there have been wars between Overlord professionals and combat professionals, more than once. I've heard that too. The war caused many combat professionals to die, and even Overlords were killed. Floating Island, code 013724. This was one of the floating islands where the first batch of summoned humans arrived. Different codes represented different floating islands. No one knew how many floating islands there were in this world. What Unique knew was that becoming the lord of a floating island was the key to opening the door to myriad worlds. Once someone became the lord of an island, then a teleportation array leading to myriad worlds would appear on the floating island under their rule. This was the information revealed by Myriad Worlds Floating Island. Although so far, no professional had successfully achieved this goal and ascended to the position of Island Lord, this information was definitely true. If there is turmoil on our floating island, more professionals will die. That's inevitable, considering how many people we have on our island. Let's change to a lighter topic. Sure, today I had 3 friends' avatars turn gray. Quote. By the way, has anyone reached level 2? As a high-level overlord, I can say that leveling up in this world is damn difficult. I'm still only a late-stage level 1 professional. Envious. I just reached mid-stage level 1. At this point, maybe only apex-level overlords have reached level 2. When it comes to levels, Lin Yu-sama has absolute authority. Why do we call Lin Yu-sama Great Lord? Every overlord professional is a lord. And Lin Yu-sama is the strongest overlord, so naturally, they are the Great Lord. Then what are we combat professionals? Single nobles adventuring in the transcendent world. Don't be ridiculous. Combat professionals are just servants and maidservants serving Overlord Sama. I don't want to be a maidservant, I want to be the wife of Lord Lin. You stinky beanbag. Even across an endless void of darkness, I can smell the stench of your feet. Please put on your socks and hide your sweaty geo, thank you. Get lost. 5%. Chapter 29 Strengthening, Hunting at Night. Shortly after darkness fell, a soft and holy light suddenly appeared outside Lin Yu's territory. Looking up, he saw beautiful figures enveloped in that light. These figures were all dressed in silver-white armor, wielding long swords burning with golden flames, and had a pair of white wings slowly flapping behind them. They were his 2 winged angels. A total of 45 of them, all returning to the territory. Behind the angel squad, there were also a series of small figures. If it weren't for the holy light illuminating the ground, Lin Yu wouldn't have been able to see them at all. This was a transport team composed of over 300 goblins. Every 2 goblins formed a group. They were all carrying the corpses of wild monsters. Neat sounds of, hey yo, came from their mouths. The Goblin Transport Brigade followed the Angel Squad, which emitted holy light all the way, and successfully returned to the territory, appearing in front of Lin Yu for the first time, kneeling before their god of faith. Rise. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, the number of his goblin believers had reached nearly 400. Among them, there were over 180 goblin warriors at the 3rd and 4th levels. There were also over a dozen goblin heroes at the 5th and 6th levels. Compared to other overlords on the island, his goblin army could be considered a strong force. Lin Yu said to the goblin believers, "The firewood has been stacked over there, you can roast meat to solve the problem of dinner. Without my permission, no goblin is allowed to leave the territory." Yes, great overlord, praise you, merciful and loving God. The goblin believers once again knelt on the ground, thanking their Lord of Faith with utmost piety. At this moment, Lin Yu once again sensed a large amount of faith power gathering within him. So far, his body had not undergone any changes due to this faith power. But that didn't matter. The power of faith would be fully manifested when he became a god. As Ayada put it, it was about accumulating little by little. The greater the accumulated power of faith, the easier it would be for Lin Yu to become a god in the future. And after becoming a god, the divine power he would possess would also be stronger. The power of faith is the foundation of faith in gods. Success or failure depends on faith. After the goblin believers left, Lin Yu turned his gaze to the angel squad. Currently, this squad was led by Ayada and Sally, the first 2 angels summoned, and their levels were also the highest among all the angels. Not bad. You didn't disappoint me. Both of you have been promoted to level 7. The speed at which Ayada and Sally leveled up made Lin Yu envious. When they were summoned yesterday, both of them were at level 5. After 2 days of hunting, they had both reached level 7. Although Lin Yu also gained 2 levels, it was a breakthrough from level 0 to level 2. This meant that the amount of origin power he obtained was far less than that of Ayada and Sally. Of course, it was mainly because he did not personally participate in the hunting of wild monsters, so he only received a small portion of the origin power, naturally resulting in a slow leveling speed. In the afternoon, the angel squad gained 36 new 2-winged angels, greatly increasing our hunting speed. And I also noticed a significant increase in the origin power I obtained. The more troops there are, the faster an overlord level will increase. This is not just a casual statement. Currently, Lin Yu's level had reached late stage of level 2. Just like last night, he was on the verge of leveling up. Hearing Lin Yu's praise, Ayada and Sally were also excited. Excitement showed on their fair and delicate cheeks. For them, receiving praise from Lin Yu was their greatest honor. These angels had 2 tasks since they descended into this world. One task is to revive the angel clan and plant the flag of the Holy Light camp throughout the myriad worlds. Another task is to serve Lin Yu, who is the Lord of Holy Light. Naturally, Lin Yu's recognition and appreciation hold great significance for them. This is also the motivation they strive for. Ayata quickly said, Lord Overlord, with the rapid expansion of the Angel Squad, Sally and I are confident that we can conquer the Goblin tribe tonight. Conquering the Goblin tribe is a plan made by Lord Overlord. The current Angel Squad is fully capable of completing this plan ahead of schedule, without necessarily waiting until tomorrow morning to declare war on the Goblin tribe. No rush. However, Lin Yu waved his hand and said, the Goblin tribe isn't going anywhere. Attacking tomorrow morning will be just as effective. Besides, there are more risks involved in marching at night. Even if we capture the Goblin tribe at night, it will be difficult to transport the seized resources back. Therefore, let's stick to the original plan. Tomorrow, at the break of dawn, we will launch an attack on the Goblin tribe. In addition to your Angel Squad, there will be 200 Goblin warriors from the territory participating in this tribal battle. However, their main task is to transport the seized resources, while you remain the main force. Understood, Lord Overlord. Ayata respectfully obeyed the order. She was also eager to fulfill Lin Yu's plan. Now, hearing Lin Yu's analysis, she realized that she had indeed been impulsive. Marching at night was indeed risky. Even though the Angel Squad had no fear, it would be difficult for the accompanying Goblin team to traverse the dark forest and reach the Goblin tribe several kilometers away unscathed. During the journey, Goblin believers would undoubtedly be attacked and killed by wild monsters. And such sacrifices would be meaningless. Lord Overlord, here are the hunting spoils from this afternoon. Ayata didn't forget the most important thing and handed over the spoils to Lin Yu. Among the spoils, there were no blueprints, no equipment, and no spirit rice seeds, only gold coins. However, the quantity of gold coins made Lin Yu very happy. There were a total of 375 coins. The floating island endowed professionals with the ability to instantly determine the quantity of gold coins without counting them one by one, just like they could determine the information of blueprints and equipment. Adding the 37 gold coins left from summoning the angels earlier. I now have 412 gold coins. In other words, I can summon 8 more two-winged angels. Lin Yu was very happy and immediately returned to the Hall of the Overlord, summoning 8 beautiful two-winged angels. With this, the number of two-winged angels under his command reached 53. This was a terrifying thing. Once this news spread, it would undoubtedly shock all professionals on the island. The size of the angel squad has expanded again. Let's try hunting at night. Lin Yu said to Ayata and Sally who were following behind him, but remember, safety must be a priority. Also, do not venture too far from the territory. If you encounter danger, return immediately. The territory will protect you. At this stage, there won't be any wild monsters invading. The nighttime hunting should not last too long. You should manage your own fatigue and return to the territory to rest. Understood, Lord Overlord. Lord Overlord, rest assured, we will protect ourselves. Ayata and Sally both spoke up. Then, under Lin Yu's nod, they led a group of energetic angels out of the territory and entered the dark wilderness. Soon, the battle broke out. Lin Yu, who was in the territory, could see the dazzling sword lights cutting through the darkness. And they were not far from the territory, no more than 200 meters away. This instantly made Lin Yu alert. He knew that there were many wild monsters in the wilderness at night, but he didn't expect there to be so many. To have monsters appear within a radius of 200 meters from his territory was terrifying. However, this situation had both disadvantages and advantages. The disadvantage was that there were too many monsters to kill. But the advantage was also that there were too many monsters to kill. Whether it was a blessing or a curse would depend on whether the angel squad could withstand the pressure. 5%. Chapter 30 Angel, the perfect nemesis of the undead. The battles outside the territory are extremely intense. There are constantly numerous sword lights piercing through the darkness, illuminating the battlefield. Those are the techniques of the angels, the radiance of the Holy Cross sword and the Holy Light Slash. In addition to the techniques, there are angels releasing golden flames that burn the battlefield. That is the angelic holy flame, capable of purifying all evil forces in the world. Under the illumination of the sword lights and holy flames, Lin Yu also saw the appearance of the monsters. One kind is a skeleton monster formed by a pile of pale bones. The other kind of monster has greenish skin, blood-red pupils, and crawls rapidly on the ground using its limbs. It looks like a hairless jackal, but upon closer inspection, it seems to have human features. Different forms, same race. Both of these monsters are undead creatures. Goblin Luan's words were correct. The wilderness at night is the realm of demons and undead. Lin Yu doesn't know what demons look like, but he has seen the undead. And there are densely packed undead. On the battlefield, there are dense clusters of undead creatures, surrounding the angelic squad like a tide, making Lin Yu's scalp tingle. It's too terrifying. Quantity has always been the advantage of the undead camp. At this moment, every angel is forced to face the siege of multiple, even dozens of undead. Fortunately, these undead creatures don't seem to be powerful. There are constantly large groups of undead creatures being killed by the angels. Lin Yu communicated with the myriad world's floating island and opened the information prompt for killing ordinary monsters. A series of kill information prompts immediately appeared. And they kept coming. There was hardly any pause. With the help of the kill prompts, Lin Yu also learned the identity information of these two types of undead creatures. The skeleton monsters on the battlefield are low-level undead of the undead race. Most of them are level 1 or level 2 skeleton soldiers. Only a few are level 3 or level 4 skeleton warriors. The other kind of green-skinned crawling monster is called a ghoul. Most of them are mutated from dead humans, so they have some human features. The ghouls on the battlefield are generally level 3 or level 4. A few have reached level 5, becoming elite ghouls. Although their numbers are not as many as the undead, their strength is slightly stronger. The situation is still good. The enemies are all ordinary undead creatures, and no high-level undead have appeared. Looking at the intense battlefield in the distance, Lin Yu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The advantage of undead creatures lies in their numbers. Looking at the battlefield outside the territory, there are undead shadows everywhere, densely packed like swarms of insects. Under the circumstances of low levels, the angelic squad can still handle it calmly. But if a large number of high-level undead appear, then it would be dangerous. Not to mention hunting, the first reaction would be to retreat to the territory. Sure enough, as I thought, the sacred and luminous power mastered by the angels is the nemesis of undead creatures. Whether it's techniques or the angelic holy flame, they can easily kill undead creatures. Lin Yu saw with his own eyes. A just summoned angel, at level 5, fighting against a ghoul of the same level. With a few sword strikes, not only did the ghoul have multiple sword wounds, but black smoke also emerged from the wounds. Originally, undead creatures couldn't feel pain. But the angel's attacks made the ghoul scream in pain, as if its vital points were hit and its soul was severely injured. Then, the ghoul seemed to be scared and turned to run. But it was quickly caught up by a beautiful angel with flying ability and beheaded with a sword. The decapitated ghoul continued to struggle on the ground, and the angel struck it with several more sword strikes, dismembering it into pieces before finally dying. There were also angels releasing golden flames on the battlefield. Under the engulfment of the holy flames, whether it was ghouls or those skeleton undead, they all turned into ashes in agonizing screams. Generally speaking, flames don't have much effect on undead creatures. But the angel's holy flames can restrain undead creatures to death. The evil power on the undead is like gasoline. As long as it touches a bit of the angelic holy flame, it immediately ignites and burns the undead to ashes. There are countless battle scenes like this. It can be directly proven that angels are the natural enemies of undead beings. Even beings of the same level, angels can easily slay undead creatures. For other factions' units, it would not be so simple to kill undead creatures, who are known as immortal beings. Take the skeleton warriors on the battlefield for example. Even if their bodies are shattered, skeleton warriors can rely on the power of the soul fire to reassemble their skeletons and continue fighting for 800 rounds. But the holy and luminous power from angels can purify the soul fire. When the soul fire is extinguished, undead creatures will die. This is the perfect counter for the faction. Before high-level undead creatures appear, these ordinary undead on the battlefield are like experience points for the angel squad. And they are experience monsters that can't be killed. Lin Yu no longer had his initial worries, and his mood became excited. He could clearly see that new waves of undead creatures were constantly pouring into the battlefield. They came one after another like a tide. And as swaths of undead creatures were harvested, both the angel squad on the battlefield and Lin Yu as the overlord gained a significant amount of primal power rewards. If they continued to kill like this, Lin Yu even suspected that he might not have to wait until tomorrow morning for his level to soar to level 4, becoming a middle-level professional. You see, he is currently at level 2 late stage. Ordinary professionals are divided into 3 ranks. Levels 1 to 3 are called low-level professionals. Levels 4 to 6 are middle-level professionals. Levels 7 to 9 are high-level professionals. Breaking through level 9 is becoming a king-level professional. Once the level reaches king level, one is considered a strong individual and is no longer an ordinary professional. This is no longer hunting, it's mass farming. It's like entering an experience instance when playing a game, gaining a large amount of experience every second. Lin Yu was very happy. He even regretted why he didn't send out the angels last night, missing out on a large amount of primal power income. However, this thought was quickly dismissed by him. Last night, he only had 7 angels under his command, which was completely inadequate to deal with the current tide of undead army. One careless move could lead to an accident. So, his previous decision was completely correct. With more than 50 angels grouped together, they can deal with the continuous tide of undead. While harvesting a large amount of primal power, there are also occasional gold coins dropping from those undead monsters. This wave is really a big profit. Primal power and gold coins are both very important things. Even without the drops of blueprints and equipment, Lin Yu was satisfied. Half an hour quickly passed. The battle outside the territory was still intense, and Lin Yu was not at all sleepy. He felt like he could stay up all night. Just at this moment, Lin Yu suddenly felt a very powerful energy surging within him. This energy was visibly transforming his body and enhancing his physical qualities at a rapid pace. After a long time, when the energy disappeared and his body stopped strengthening, he found that he had broken through his level. From level 2 late stage, he broke through to level 3. Looking at the entire floating island, this can be considered a very low level. Even the skeleton warriors harvested by the angels were at level 3 or 4. But you should know that it has been less than 48 hours since his arrival. It can be seen how terrifying Lin Yu's leveling speed is. If the floating island opened the professional level ranking, I believe Lin Yu's level would definitely be far ahead. He would easily dominate the level rankings. 5%. Chapter 31 No comparison, no harm. Promoted to level 3 professional. Lin Yu was very happy, with an unstoppable smile on his face. The leveling speed on the floating island was recognized as difficult. With each level increase, the required experience source power would double. This meant that one had to kill several times more monsters than before in order to level up again. As of now, most professionals on the island were still at level 1. Some didn't even reach level 1. After all, not everyone had the courage to fight wild monsters. Of course, this wasn't important. What was important was that the top professionals on the island were probably only hovering around level 2. Either at level 1 late stage or just entering level 2. Those who reached the mid-level of level 2 professionals were few and far between, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe them as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. This wasn't Lin Yu's self-speculation, but rather his inference based on the information revealed in the island's chat channel. For example, the Golden Behemoth Overlord. As an overlord with an apex-level unit and the leader of the strongest professional alliance on the island, the Hall of Kings, the Golden Behemoth Overlord was undoubtedly a top boss. Apart from Lin Yu, he had the greatest reputation on the island. He was ahead of most professionals. However, his level was only at the early stage of level 2, and he had just leveled up this afternoon. This was revealed by the Golden Behemoth Overlord himself in the Hall of Kings chat channel, in order to enhance his prestige among the alliance members. And some members of the Hall of Kings leaked this secret to the island's chat channel. Subsequently, it was known by countless professionals, including Lin Yu. Aside from attracting a wave of professionals to join the Hall of Kings, this incident also revealed the level of other professionals. It was easy to imagine. There were very few professionals at level 2. In this situation, Lin Yu's breakthrough to level 3 seemed terrifying. Without comparison, there would be no harm. Lin Yu topping the level rankings was definitely without question. If Lin Yu's level information were to spread to the island's chat channel, it would not only cause a great shock, but many professionals would also say that it was impossible. No one's level could increase so quickly. If it did, it would be a bug. Lin Yu stood in the small square of his territory. His gaze passed through the boundary of the territory without fences and looked towards the dark battlefield in the distance. The battle between the Angel Squad and the Undead Legion never ceased. The wave-like undead creatures continued to charge forward, fearless of death. In the darkness nearby, it seemed as if countless undead creatures were gathering, launching wave after wave of attacks on the Angel Squad. Under the radiance of the holy light, Lin Yu could barely see the battlefield. The battle area spanning hundreds of meters was already covered with pale bones. Those were the remains left behind after the skeleton soldiers and skeleton warriors were killed, without blood and flesh, but even more eerie and terrifying. In addition to the skeletal remains, there were also many corpses of ghouls. Some had turned into ashes. Some had been cut into pieces by the angel's sword. Since the start of the battle, the number of undead killed by the angel squad had already exceeded 1,000. This was a very astonishing number. It took the angel squad almost an afternoon to hunt the same number of wild monsters. And this battle had not even lasted an hour since it broke out. It could be seen how intense the battle was. At the same time, one could also imagine how terrifying the number of undead creatures hidden in the darkness was. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the land was filled with undead. The angel squad won't be able to continue the battle until tomorrow morning. Such a high-intensity battle is a huge drain on the angel's magic power, physical strength, and even their spirits. I must remind Ayada and Sally. Thinking of this, Lin Yu contacted Ayada, who was on the battlefield, and told her to immediately lead the other angels back to the territory if they couldn't hold on, to avoid unnecessary casualties. Ayada quickly responded. Inform Lin Yu that they can endure another round of battle. Upon hearing this, Lin Yu didn't say anything else. He believes in Ayada's abilities. In the following time. While paying attention to the battlefield, Lin Yu also sensed the continuously increasing power within his body. Being able to clearly sense the enhancement of his own power is something that brings great joy and even intoxication. Lin Yu couldn't help but become immersed in it. Additionally, counting the gold coins that dropped on the battlefield is also enjoyable. Under the shroud of darkness, the gold coins reflecting holy light and flames appear particularly dazzling and eye-catching, like stars embellishing the night sky. After counting once, there were more than 70 little stars. After counting again, the number of little stars increased to over 80. These are the ones that can be seen. There are also many gold coins hidden by the corpses of undead creatures. So there is no way to accurately count how many gold coins have dropped on the battlefield. But it can be determined that the quantity is definitely not small. Lin Yu said with some regret, "It's a pity that there are too many undead creatures on the battlefield, which leaves no time for the angels to collect the gold coins. Otherwise, I could use these gold coins to summon new angels. Let them join the battle and kill more undead." In this world, things are never perfect. Lin Yu can only put away this thought. Furthermore, the gold coins dropped on the battlefield will not disappear. At most they can be collected after the undead creatures retreat tomorrow morning, so it doesn't have much impact. Another hour passed. The angels on the battlefield no longer choose to directly confront the undead army. Under the command of Ayada and Sally, the angel squad retreats slowly towards their territory. The angels have been greatly depleted. Especially their magical power, which is almost exhausted. Both their combat skills and angelic flames require the support of magical power to display their formidable power. Once the magical power is completely depleted, the strength of the angels will also be severely affected. Therefore, a temporary retreat is necessary. Even if they continue to fight, they have to wait for their magical power to recover. But at this moment, a burst of angry roars suddenly came from the darkness-shrouded jungle in the distance. The sound is completely different from the monster roars that Lin Yu usually hears. It exudes endless killing intent and gives a chilling feeling. As if the undead are howling in anger. Retreat. Ayada's expression tightened. Once again, she gave the order for everyone to retreat. The other angels also sensed the impending crisis. Instead of retreating while fighting, they instantly released all the magical power within them, killing the masses of undead creatures blocking their path. Although more undead creatures gathered nearby, the angel squad still managed to create a path leading to their territory. On this path, flames burn fiercely. That is the angelic flames that can purify all evil. The angels did not flap their wings and retreat from the sky because the sky is not absolutely safe. Instead, under the deterrence of the holy flames, the nearby undead creatures dare not approach, and can only watch as the angels transmigrate through the holy flame passage and break free from their encirclement. Roar. Many ghouls nearby roared, venting their dissatisfaction. It wasn't until another roar came that the ghouls and skeletal undead retreated like a tide, disappearing into the darkness. The undead army retreated, but it didn't end there. Soon, the darkness in the distance seemed to be torn apart by some terrifying creature, and a massive figure slowly emerged from it. The earth trembled as this figure appeared. After a moment, the figure arrived at the starting point of the holy flame passage. The still burning golden flames clearly reflected in Lin Yu's field of vision. At that moment, Lin Yu's pupils contracted sharply. 5%. Chapter 32 Skeleton King Lane. A big Easter egg. What a terrifying figure is that? Although it has a humanoid form, its size reaches over 4 meters, close to 5 meters. In front of this figure, the tall and strong dual-headed demon leader can only be described as small and insignificant. It stands at the end of the Holy Flame Passage. Its deep blue pupils stare at the angel squad that has already retreated, revealing a cold indifference. It wears a complete set of black armor, with 2 oversized swords on its back, larger and more intimidating than the Wolf Fang Club that Lin Yu put on the shelves today. Through the eye sockets of the black helmet, it can be seen that its deep blue pupils are not real eyes, but 2 burning flames. That is the fire of the soul, the characteristic of the undead skeleton clan. It can be foreseen that the body wrapped in the black armor is probably also composed of a skeleton. It's just hard to imagine what race it was in its lifetime. To possess such a massive body. Human, definitely not. Perhaps a giant, or maybe the legendary Titan. Lin Yu feels that the former is more likely. It is unknown whether it is due to distance or the huge gap in levels, but Lin Yu cannot see the information of this giant undead. Lord Overlord. Ayata comes to Lin Yu's side. A hint of blush appears on her beautiful jade-like cheeks. Perhaps it was caused by the intense battle just now. But no matter the reason, at least in Lin Yu's eyes, Ayata looks even more beautiful now, exuding a suffocating charm. Lin Yu has also seen beautiful women before. Su Dabin is a beauty with a score of over 90. But it has to be said that compared to Ayata's beauty, Su Dabin is still a step behind. Ayata did not notice Lin Yu's abnormality and respectfully said to him, "The magical power fluctuation of this undead creature is very strong, surpassing level 9. With my strength, I am capable of contending with a level 9 professional. But this undead creature gives me a very dangerous feeling. Its level should have reached the king level. A king level undead." Lin Yu feels a chill. Kill the small ones, and bigger ones come. It's normal. But to have one this big is still beyond his expectations. Lin Yu quickly calms down and says, "Don't worry, our territory is protected by the rules of the floating island. Even if it is a king-level boss, it can't come in. The rules of the floating island cannot be broken by a mere king-level creature." Okay, Ayata nods. Then she firmly says to Lin Yu, "Please give me some time, Lord Overlord. Once I reach level 9, I will slay this undead heretic, purify its soul, and cleanse its disrespect towards you." In Ayata's eyes, this king-level undead intruding into the territory of the Lord of Holy Light and looking down upon the Lord of Holy Light's subjects with a cold gaze is not only disrespectful but also an unforgivable sin. Once she reaches her power spike, she will kill this guy. Alright, I'll wait. Lin Yu smiles. Indeed, pressure brings motivation. Ayata can't wait to reach level 9. Just at this moment, the king-level undead slowly turns its massive head, shifting its gaze away from the group of angels, and locks onto Lin Yu, as if it has finally found its target. And in that instant, Lin Yu also inexplicably feels a chill. A sense of horror that cannot be described in words. However, this feeling does not last long because Ayata and Sally directly stand in front of him, glaring back at the king-level undead. As sacred beings, angels fear nothing. Especially when facing evil creatures, angels have a natural advantage. Facing the angry gazes of Ayata and Sally, the king-level undead remains silent. Perhaps it cannot speak. After all, it belongs to the skeleton clan and most likely does not have vocal cords. After a moment of staring at the 2 angels, it seems to retreat. Turning its giant-like massive body, it slowly stepped into the darkness behind. It came fast, and it left fast too. As it departed, a burst of commotion could be heard from outside the territory, as if the densely packed undead creatures were also being taken away. On this side, Lin Yu let out a sigh of relief. After all, it was a king-level boss, still difficult for him to contend with. It's better that it left on its own. Lin Yu looked at Ayata and Sally, who had retreated to the side, and asked, "Can you tell what kind of undead it was, a skeleton overlord or a skeleton king?" To Overlord, it was a skeleton king. Ayata replied. Sally added, "I can sense that there are a large number of high-level undead hidden in the darkness behind it, far beyond the ordinary skeleton monsters and ghouls on the battlefield." Upon hearing this, Lin Yu felt relieved. Fortunately, the angel squad decisively withdrew, and fortunately, the rules of the floating island protected the territory. Otherwise, the losses would have been great. This also directly proved that the wilderness world shrouded in darkness was indeed very dangerous. A little carelessness could lead to disaster. Lin Yu suddenly frowned. It's strange. How did this skeleton king bring a group of high-level undead minions to my territory in the middle of the night, and where did it come from? No angel could answer this question. Because they didn't understand it either. Just then, Lin Yu suddenly heard someone speaking. The voice was very soft, but he could hear it clearly, and the content was, "Great, great God." Following the sound, he saw a goblin raising his hand. This goblin was none other than Zago, the goblin Lin Yu had talked to in the afternoon. "Come here." Lin Yu beckoned to Zago. Upon receiving the master's summons, Zago quickly ran over, knelt down in front of Lin Yu, and excitedly said, "Overlord, I know the origin of that skeleton king." "Is that so?" Lin Yu's eyes lit up. "Tell me." Zago didn't dare to lift his head. He kept his head down and quickly said, "Its name is Lane, Skeleton King Lane. It is said that it was a powerful member of the giant kingdom when it was alive. Due to its violent death, it became an undead creature. Skeleton King Lane is the ruler of the burial ground, but no one knows exactly where the burial ground is, only speculations that it might be in the underground world." "The underground world? Yes, Overlord," Zago said. "There are countless evil creatures living in the underground world beneath our feet, and the undead are just one of them." Upon hearing this, Lin Yu felt that his worldview had expanded again. He thought for a moment and said to Ayada beside him, "The territory of the Skeleton King should be underground in our nearby area, otherwise, it wouldn't have appeared so quickly. When you go out hunting, pay attention to searching for any passages to the underground world nearby." For Lin Yu now, Skeleton King Lane was a time bomb, very dangerous. But in a short time, when Ayada and Sally reached level 9, Skeleton King Lane would become an Easter egg. When he used to play games, Lin Yu's favorite thing was to defeat bosses. It was the same when he arrived at the floating island. Defeating boss-level monsters would have a higher chance of dropping blueprints and equipment. On the other hand, Zago raised his hand again and said, "Overlord, the Grey Dwarves should know where there are passages to the underground world. The despicable Grey Dwarves love to dig caves in the mountains and underground, and even their tribe is hidden inside the belly of the mountains." "That's good news." Lin Yu grinned. His original plan was to conquer the Goblin tribe after dealing with the Goblin tribe, and then defeat the two-headed demon tribe guarded by a king-level powerhouse. Now, it just so happened that after dealing with the Goblin tribe in the next 2 days, he could simultaneously gather some information about Skeleton King Lane, preparing for the upcoming Easter egg. "Zago, you did well. I believe you have a promising future as a goblin." Upon hearing Lin Yu's words, Zago was overjoyed. He felt like his soul was about to float away. After all, this was praise from a god. After Zago left, Lin Yu also let Ayada and the other angels go back to rest and replenish their depleted mana. They definitely couldn't go hunting tonight. The angel squad needed to rest and wait until tomorrow morning to capture the Goblin tribe. 1.6%. Chapter 33A Bumper Harvest of Spoils. This is the second night after arriving at Floating Island. Lin Yu didn't sleep well. In a daze, he could always hear unknown creatures roaring and howling near his territory. He was awakened several times in the middle of the night. He suspected that it was the Skeleton King, Lane, who sent undead creatures to shout and disturb his sleep because he couldn't invade his territory. Every time he thought about this, Lin Yu became more determined to defeat the Skeleton King and open the Easter egg. The next morning, Lin Yu yawned and woke up from bed. On the bedside table, there was breakfast prepared by the angels for him. Fresh fruits, grilled meat, and honey water, just like yesterday. Indeed, it was due to limited conditions. Otherwise, the angels would definitely find ways to serve Lin Yu. For the angels, Lin Yu, as their Lord of Holy Light, had the right to enjoy the best things in the world, no matter what it was. While eating breakfast, he was also browsing the island trading platform. From time to time, he would also open the chat channel next to it to see what the professionals were doing that day or if there were any more leaks. This was also part of Lin Yu's daily work. After breakfast, Lin Yu walked out of the second-floor bedroom and came to the hall of the Overlord on the first floor. At first glance, he saw the pile of gold coins in the hall. There were a lot of them, more than 200. Obviously, this was the harvest from the angel team's group farming of undead monsters last night. While Lin Yu was still asleep, the diligent angels had already cleaned up the battlefield. And they piled up the collected spoils in the hall of the Overlord. At this moment, the angel team was not in the territory. They had already gone to the Goblin tribe. In addition to the Angel team, there was also a transport team consisting of about 200 Goblin warriors and Goblin heroes accompanying them. If nothing unexpected happened, the battle with the tribe would soon begin. A total of 264 gold coins. You can summon 5 two-winged angels. In addition, the spoils are not just gold coins, there are actually 2 pieces of equipment. A bone sword and a defensive leather armor. Although they didn't get any blueprints, they unexpectedly obtained 2 pieces of equipment, and the gold coins were also a great harvest, which made Lin Yu very happy. He immediately checked the information of the 2 pieces of equipment. Sword of the Skeleton. Type: attack equipment. Damage level: level 4. Durability: 100. Special effect: none. Introduction. This is a bone sword made from the vertebrae of skeleton undead, containing a faint trace of undead power. Ghoul leather armor. Type: defense equipment. Defense level: level 5. Durability: 100. Special effect: disguise. Introduction. This is a leather armor sewn from the skin of elite ghouls. Wearing it, you will become a member of the ghouls, making it difficult for ordinary undead creatures below level 5 to see through your disguise. 2 pieces of equipment. One is a level 4 ordinary equipment. The other is a level 5 supreme grade equipment with special effects. Lin Yu was very happy. These 2 pieces of equipment combined should be able to sell for several hundred gold coins, or even possibly higher. Especially the ghoul leather armor, it might give him a pleasant surprise. Without hesitation, he immediately put these 2 pieces of equipment up for auction on the island trading platform, setting the trading mode as auction mode. Auction time: 1 hour. The starting price of the sword of the skeleton is 100 gold coins. The starting price of the ghoul leather armor is 300 gold coins. As soon as the 2 pieces of equipment were put up for sale, they caused a small commotion in the island's chat channel and attracted the attention of many players. Currently, there are still relatively few level 4 equipment available on the trading platform. As for level 5 equipment, they can only be described as rare. Especially the level 5 equipment with special effects, they are even rarer. So far, apart from the level 5 supreme grade equipment sold by Lin Yu, there have only been 2 pieces, and they were all sold at high prices. However, this is not the main reason for the commotion. It is not because Lin Yu's fame on the island has reached a point where everyone knows about him. It is because of the secret behind the sword of the skeleton and the ghoul leather armor. Island chat channel. No wonder Lin Yu is so amazing. He has put up 2 pieces of equipment, and one of them is a supreme grade equipment. I am completely envious of Lin Yu. It has changed my whole appearance. At Lin Yu, please take care of me. By the way, haven't you noticed something? The 2 pieces of equipment that Lin Yu put up for sale are all equipment for the undead faction. Just undead equipment. What's so strange about that? If Lin Yu can even get level 8 supreme grade equipment, not to mention level 5 supreme grade equipment. That's not the point. The point is I suspect Lin Yu has started hunting at night. Because generally, undead faction monsters only appear at night. Damn, it seems like that's true. Has Lin Yu's strength reached such a level? As an overlord with high-level units, I can say that going out to hunt at night is just asking for death. Last night, I lost a squad of high-level units, and not even a single bubble appeared. As one of the few high-level overlords, this player was quite proud. But soon, someone replied and mocked him. Brother upstairs, just because you can't do it doesn't mean Lin Yu can't. What's so great about being a high-level overlord? Lin Yu is an apex-level overlord. NB+1. While our team was still trying to figure out how to survive the night, Lin Yu had already started hunting monsters in the wilderness at night. All I can say is, people are really infuriating. Lin Yu is truly amazing. Damn, look at the trading platform. In such a short time, the bidding price for the ghoul leather armor has already exceeded 470 gold coins. By the way, are there so many rich people now? The bidding frequency. I bet the final price will reach 1000 gold coins, right? It seems like the previous most expensive level 5 supreme grade equipment only sold for 530 gold coins. Is this the so-called star effect? I really don't understand why those crazy bidders are willing to spend a high price to buy a level 5 equipment just because it was dropped by Lin Yu. Does the equipment sold by Lin Yu have any collectible value? All I can say is, people are foolish and have too much money. Lin Yu, who was also paying attention to the island's chat channel, couldn't help but shake his head when he saw these messages. These people simply didn't see the true value of the ghoul leather armor. And those who did realize the value behind the ghoul leather armor were either bidding crazily or regretting not having enough gold coins to participate in the auction. There are still many smart people in the world. The ghoul leather armor did not disappoint me, it brought me a surprise. Lin Yu hoped that the final price of the ghoul leather armor would be astonishing. As for the chaotic chat channel, he didn't pay attention to it anymore. Instead, he used his mind to communicate with the myriad world's floating island and summoned a black hole. Shortly after, 5 beautiful figures flew out of the black hole. They were 5 charming 2-winged angels. After this summoning, Lin Yu was left with only 26 gold coins. This made him sigh. For him, as an overlord, no amount of gold coins is enough. 6%. Chapter 34 Comprehensive Improvement. Enter the Goblin tribe. Just summoned 5 2-winged angels, Lin Yu also dispatched them. Let them join the angel squad. So far, Lin Yu has a total of 58 2-winged angels. Among the many angels, Ayata and Sally have the highest level 7 late stage. Vina and Josie also successfully broke through to level 7 in the battle against the Undead Legion last night. The 3 angel sisters, as well as the summoned Rui and Helen, have all entered level 6 late stage. In addition to them, several angels also advanced to level 6 last night. In yesterday's battle, the angel squad gained more than Lin Yu because they were the ones who killed the undead monsters and received the majority of the origin power rewards. 4 level 7s, 8 level 6s, plus dozens of angels and 200 elite goblin followers, it's enough to capture the goblin tribe. Although they were unable to summon the 4-winged angel as desired and have the 4-winged angel lead the attack on the goblin tribe, with the current strength of the angel squad, capturing the goblin tribe is still not a problem. Only Lin Yu himself feels a bit regretful. But there is no way, lacking the fence blueprint, the territory cannot be upgraded. And without upgrading the territory, he cannot summon the 4-winged angel. The wood, stone, and iron ore resources he has stored in the warehouse are enough to upgrade the territory to a middle-level village, but the lack of the fence blueprint prevents him from upgrading. He even considered spending hundreds of gold coins to buy it on the trading platform. Of course, he is not the only one troubled by the territory upgrade. Other overlords also cannot upgrade their territories. Lin Yu already has 2 of the 3 prerequisite buildings for upgrading the territory to a middle-level village, the warehouse and the arrow tower, while other overlords may not even have one. So, his development speed is still very fast. Arriving outside the hall of the overlord, Lin Yu saw more than 100 goblins gathered in the nearby small square. These goblins are all ordinary goblins, generally at level 1, with very low combat power, only suitable for logistical work. Now, the goblins are dissecting the monster corpses. These monster corpses were left behind yesterday. There are still hundreds of monster corpses left to be dissected. Then he looked at the battlefield from last night. Within a 200-meter radius, it was filled with countless white bones and a large number of ghoul corpses, which have no value and were left on the battlefield. But there is no need to worry about these remains breeding evil undead power. Because the angels purified them with holy light early on. Not to mention breeding undead power, it would be fine to bring them back and make bone soup. Then, Lin Yu went to the spirit field near the territory. Seeing the 100-meter-long spirit field still enveloped in a faint halo, unaffected by last night's night battle, he also breathed a sigh of relief. For an overlord, the spirit field is very useful. Lin Yu hasn't used it yet because he doesn't have any crop seeds. Once he has seeds, he can plant spirit rice to improve the territory's food situation, so that every meal is not just fruits and grilled meat. Moreover, spirit rice also has the effect of enhancing physical fitness. Long-term consumption can strengthen the body. Just like the ordinary goblins in the territory, if they consume spirit rice for a long time, they may break through their limitations and become goblin warriors, or even goblin heroes. Speaking of which, when the number of Lin Yu's subjects increases in the future. For example, a city with a population of over 1 million. If all the subjects consume spirit rice, it will greatly help the development of the territory and even the overall strength of the subjects. Not only spirit rice, but the spirit field can also cultivate demon plants and magic herbs. Yesterday, when Lin Yu was chatting with the goblin Zago, he asked about demon plants and magic herbs. Demon plants, to put it simply, are plants that have become spirits. Their biggest function is to guard the territory. Territories guarded by demon plants will make ordinary wild monsters retreat. Magic herbs, on the other hand, can be used to make potions. In the world of professionals, potions are consumables, similar to red and blue potions in games, and they are also extremely important for professionals. During battles, a professional who has taken drugs is extremely powerful. Just like crafting equipment, Overlord needs to have exclusive buildings in order to prepare potions. The prerequisite building for potion preparation is called the pharmacist's mansion. The pharmacist's mansion is higher level than the blacksmith shop for crafting equipment, and the related blueprints are harder to obtain. Equipment merchants and potion merchants are both big money makers on the floating island. If Lin Yu can monopolize the equipment and potion business on the floating island, he would earn billions of gold coins every day and could summon a large army of angels in minutes. Of course, this is just a dream. To make it come true, he still needs to continue working hard. Goblin tribe, located to the west of Lin Yu's territory, about 4 kilometers away. Don't underestimate this 4-kilometer distance. There is no highway in between, not even a road. There are only dense forests and territories occupied by wild monsters. Currently, the majority of Overlord professionals are still clearing the wild monsters within 1 kilometer of their territory. Meanwhile, Lin Yu's troops have already transmigrated several kilometers to attack the stronghold of the indigenous intelligent creatures. This is a significant difference. After a jungle march lasting 2 hours, during which countless wild monsters were killed, the angel squad finally arrived at the Goblin tribe. Upon arrival, the angels did not conceal their presence. They flapped their snow-white angel wings and stood tall in the sky, hundreds of meters above the ground. Each angel was fully armed, wearing silver-white armor, wielding angel swords burning with golden flames, and emitting an extremely holy radiance. Just this scene alone intimidated the goblins inside the tribe. Chieftain, what kind of creatures are outside? Are they the legendary winged people? On the wooden walls of the Goblin tribe stood a group of high-level goblins led by the Goblin chieftain. They were all staring in astonishment at the angels standing in the distance. Beautiful and holy. This was their first impression of the angels. I don't know. The Goblin chieftain shook his head. He was the most experienced and oldest goblin in the tribe, but he had never seen what the legendary winged people actually looked like. Perhaps the creatures outside were winged people, or perhaps they were of another race. But regardless of the race, one thing was certain: the visitors were not friendly. If they were friends, they wouldn't be wielding weapons. Thinking of this, the Goblin chieftain tightened his grip on his staff. It was the source of his power. An elemental mage without a staff would have at least a 30% decrease in combat power. The Goblin chieftain said with a serious expression, "Get ready, everyone. These are enemies attempting to invade our tribe. Although their levels are not high, we must not be careless." "Yes, chieftain," the strong goblins responded one after another. At the same time, the Goblin tribe began to prepare for battle. The remaining 300 goblins, regardless of their combat power, were all gathered together. Protecting the tribe was the duty of all goblins. No goblin would abandon their tribe and choose to flee, unless the enemy was too strong. Just at this moment, there was a sudden sound coming from the jungle outside the tribe. Upon closer listening, it seemed to be the sound of organized chanting. After a while, numerous goblins emerged from the jungle, all of them well equipped. Led by multiple goblin warriors, the rest were all goblin soldiers. The total size reached about 200. Soon, this goblin army also appeared near the Goblin tribe and formed an attacking formation. Seeing this scene, the Goblin chieftain and others on the wooden walls were all dumbfounded. What the hell is going on? 6%. Chapter 35. Damn it, I was fooled. The Goblin chieftain and others were somewhat confused. The reason was simple. The goblins gathered outside the tribe were actually the tribe members who had been lost these past 2 days. There were nearly 200 elite goblins, not too many nor too few. The ones missing were the more than 100 ordinary goblins. When added together, the numbers were just right. Besides the correct number, they also saw many familiar figures among the goblin ranks. Some goblins, they could even call out their names. The goblins who went missing these past 2 days are not dead at all. They are all still alive. The group of powerful goblins widened their eyes, expressing disbelief. At the same time, they couldn't understand why these elite goblins from their tribe would appear in the enemy camp, and even adopt an attacking posture towards the tribe. This was not just a few betrayals, but a large-scale defection. Damn it, I've been fooled. That foolish goblin deceived me. The Goblin chieftain suddenly seemed to realize something and roared loudly. The foolish goblin he was angrily scolding was none other than Goblin Lunan, the weak goblin warrior he had expelled from the tribe's meeting hall. He had fallen for Goblin Lunan's trick. From the beginning, there was no so-called underground food storage, nor was there any attack by the Grey Dwarf tribe during food transportation. It could even be said that the Grey Dwarf tribe had nothing to do with this series of events. This was a conspiracy from the winged people. The goblin chieftain's gaze stared fiercely at the angels standing tall in the distance. It was these winged people who were plotting against his tribe. He had to admit, they were an exceptionally beautiful race. Even from the goblin's perspective, these beings were extremely attractive. Moreover, the goblin chieftain sensed an incredibly strong power of holiness and light emanating from them, exuding an unparalleled aura of sanctity. When looking up at these beautiful beings, he even felt an impulse to bow down and worship. They were like divine messengers walking in the mortal world. No, this is the power of enchantment. The goblin chieftain instantly snapped back to reality and exclaimed in shock and anger, "Their beauty is only skin deep. In essence, they are an extremely evil group of creatures. They must have used dark magic to enchant the elite goblins of my tribe." This was the only reasonable explanation he could think of. Besides the evil magic that could enchant souls, he couldn't think of any other way for so many elite goblins of the tribe to betray them in such a short time. And that foolish goblin, as well as the 30-odd goblin warriors who returned to the tribe with him, they are highly likely to have been enchanted by these evil creatures too. Otherwise, they would definitely inform me of the truth of the situation. Instead, oh no, they are already inside the tribe now. The goblin chieftain suddenly shivered, feeling a chill down his spine. He had been slow to react. Only now did he realize that the enemy had already infiltrated their tribe. The goblin chieftain didn't dare to hesitate and quickly ordered a nearby goblin warrior. "You, quickly go and capture Lunan and all the goblin warriors who returned to the tribe with him." What? The goblin warrior looked confused. He didn't understand why the chieftain suddenly gave such an order. The enemy was already approaching the tribe. A tribal defense battle could break out at any moment. At this time, capturing goblin warriors within the tribe would only undermine the tribe's strength. It could potentially give the enemy an opportunity. "Chieftain, why do we need to capture them?" The goblin chieftain's face darkened as he said, "The goblin warriors who returned to the tribe with Lunan yesterday have already been controlled by evil forces." What? The goblin warrior was startled. There were spies sent by the enemy hidden within their tribe. "Don't waste time, go quickly." "Yes, chieftain, I will go and capture those traitors now." However, the words of this powerful goblin were not finished yet, and the war horn had already sounded outside the tribe. The shouts of killing startled countless birds in the jungle. This was a way for the goblins to boost morale. After receiving orders from the Lord Envoy, the goblin believers immediately launched an attack, with nearly 200 elite goblins rushing towards the goblin tribe. They charged forward while shouting. Just like the suicide squads in movies, they didn't care if there was danger ahead. "They've gone mad. All these goblins have gone mad." A level 7 goblin powerhouse couldn't help but comment, "When we fought against the Grey Dwarves tribe before, these guys weren't as crazy as they are now. This is the horror of bewitching magic." The goblin chieftain became even more convinced of his viewpoint. "Remember, gather all our forces later and attack those winged creatures flying in the sky. Let's call them winged creatures for now. They are evil spellcasters. Kill them and the evil magic will be broken." "Understood, chieftain." The goblin powerhouses nodded one after another. At this moment, a goblin powerhouse asked, "Chieftain, what about the goblins outside the tribe?" The goblin chieftain coldly said, "Don't worry about them. They won't be able to break through the tribe's walls for a while. When necessary, we can kill a small portion of them. For the tribe, for the tribe." The goblin powerhouses shouted in unison, ready for battle. "They're here," the goblin chieftain suddenly roared. At the same time, he waved his elemental staff and conjured a huge fireball, smashing it towards a group of beautiful figures in the distant sky. At this moment, dozens of two-winged angels were descending from 100 meters high, wielding holy swords. It could be seen that each angel's holy sword was burning with dazzling golden flames, and their angelic wings behind them emitted a holy and dazzling light. It was an exceptionally beautiful scene. With a loud bang, the fireball, with a diameter of nearly 1 meter, was forcefully slashed in midair by a cross-shaped sword light. The scorching flames instantly enveloped an area of tens of meters in radius. It seemed spectacular, but it posed little threat. because the fire elemental magic power within it had been destroyed, turning into ordinary flames. Led by Ayata and Sally, dozens of two-winged angels rushed through the sea of fire without hesitation and entered the goblin tribe below. This doesn't make sense, the goblin chieftain exclaimed. He was a level 9 elemental mage. The power of the fireball spell he released was enough to kill an 8th level professional. But those angels, whose highest level was only mid-7th level, were able to slash his fireball spell, even destroying the magic runes attached to the fireball. How could their strength be so powerful with only 7th level? This completely baffled him. However, before he could think too much, the angelic squad's attack had already arrived. Dozens of dazzling sword lights swept through the air, directly slashing towards the location where the goblin chieftain and others were. Dodge. The goblin chieftain sensed a highly threatening aura within these sword lights. After a roar, he jumped down from the wooden wall. The other goblin powerhouses were also frightened and immediately took cover. But a few slow goblin warriors were instantly cut into pieces by these sword lights. Boom, 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 boom. The sword lights didn't lose momentum. In the blink of an eye, they hit the wooden wall again. In a scene of flying wood chips, a gap several meters wide appeared in the wooden wall. Kill them. Charge in and save those ignorant goblins. Salute the great Lord of Holy Light. Praise the Holy Light. Nearly 200 elite goblins rushed into the goblin tribe through the gap. As if receiving a signal, inside the tribe, more than 30 goblin warriors led by Goblin Lunan immediately rebelled. They praised the Holy Light and eternal faith while wielding their weapons to attack the nearby goblin tribesmen. Enemies were both inside and outside. For a while, the goblin tribe fell into chaos. 6%. Chapter 36 Uncle, come and believe in the Lord of Holy Light with me. Lunan, what are you doing? I am your uncle. How dare you betray the tribe, betray the chieftain, and even point your weapon at me? Are you crazy? In the chaotic goblin tribe, an elderly goblin roared in anger. Lunan, the goblin who had already gone mad from his scolding, swung his long sword without hesitation, knocking out a nearby tribal goblin with the back of his sword. I am not crazy. It's the ignorance of the tribe's people. Beryl, the goblin chieftain, is incapable of leading the tribe to glory. He can't even deal with the despicable grey dwarves. Only the great Lord of Holy Light can revive our goblin race. Uncle, believe in the Lord of Holy Light with me. The gods will protect us. Lunan, the goblin, held his sword and took step by step towards the elderly goblin. The old goblin exclaimed in fear, "Put down your weapon first, let's sit down and talk." Lunan shook his head and said, "The Lord of Holy Light is a merciful deity, giving the tribe a chance for self-redemption, but only this one time. Uncle, trust me, I won't harm you. Can you put down the weapon before we talk?" No. Seeing Lunan approaching with his sword, the elderly goblin became frightened and immediately shouted, "Don't come any closer, I will listen to you, I will believe in the Holy Light with you." All right, Uncle, now I need you to kneel on the ground, without any other meaningless actions. After the tribal battle is over, the respected holy envoy will ignite the flame of faith for you. I understand, can you stay away from me? All right, Uncle. Lunan turned and left. Meanwhile, the elderly goblin kneeling on the ground looked around, preparing to find an opportunity to escape. But soon he realized that the goblin followers had surrounded the entire tribe. Those goblin tribal members who refused to bow their heads to the Holy Light were either struggling in difficult resistance or had already been knocked unconscious on the ground. He couldn't escape. What's more, even if he successfully escaped the tribe, where could he go? Without the protection of the tribe, he would eventually become food for the wild monsters. Thinking of this, the elderly goblin immediately surrendered. He no longer thought about escaping, but hoped that the tribe's strong leaders, led by the goblin chieftain, could successfully repel the invaders, so that he wouldn't have to become a follower of the Lord of Holy Light. Just like the goblin chieftain, the elderly goblin also believed that the goblin followers were being controlled by dark magic. Naturally, that Lord of Holy Light must be an evil god. And an evil god should never be worshipped. Otherwise, it would undoubtedly bring disaster to the tribe, and even the entire race. In less than 10 minutes, Lin Yu's 200 elite goblin followers had taken control of the entire goblin tribe. Inside the goblin tribe, although there were more than 300 goblins, most of them were ordinary goblins. The strong members of the goblin tribe had already been surrounded by the angel squad. The goblin followers, who had no opponents, easily occupied the goblin tribe. At a glance, there were goblins kneeling on the ground everywhere in the tribe. There were also some goblins who had been knocked unconscious by physical means, lying around in disarray. Our mission is complete. Now we just need the holy envoys to finish preaching to Chieftain Beryl, and this tribal redemption battle can come to an end. Praise the great Lord of Holy Light. With the guidance of the gods, our goblin tribe will definitely walk towards the light. The goblin followers were filled with fanaticism. They all envisioned a glorious future for the goblin tribe. As for the tribal goblins forced to kneel on the ground, they were all filled with fear and unease, thinking that the goblin followers were all crazy. In this world, there was no longer a need for faith. They were now hoping that the elderly goblin chieftain could achieve victory and come to save them. Damn it. Are all legendary winged beings this powerful? On the battlefield, the goblin chief's eyes were bloodshot as he continuously swung his elemental staff, unleashing huge fireballs that rained down on the 4 angels besieging him. However, his elemental magic was completely useless, unable to pose a significant threat to the enemy. Every fireball he released was shattered in midair by dazzling sword lights, leaving nothing but scorched earth in its wake. The 4 angels besieging the goblin chief were all level 7. Ayata and Sally were the main attackers, while Vina and Josie provided support. Together, they forced the goblin chief to retreat, all the way from the wooden walls of the tribe to the grand meeting hall that held countless glories of the goblin tribe. As for the other powerful goblins, they had long been surrounded. Their situation was even more perilous, as dozens of angels were closing in on them. In the first wave of the battle, several goblin elites were instantly killed. In the subsequent rounds of fighting, a few more goblin elites fell. Up until now, only 6 goblin elites were still desperately holding on. Among them, 2 were level 8 goblin commanders, and the other 4 were level 7 goblin warriors. What terrifying power! Are all these winged beings the children of gods as the legends say? At this moment, the 6 goblin elites were surrounded by the angelic squad, constantly facing terrifying attacks from all directions. A moment's inattention could result in instant death. When the angelic squad first descended, the goblins didn't really pay much attention to them because the angels' levels were not high. Most were level 5, with a few at level 6. The most powerful level 7 angels numbered only 4. In contrast, the goblin tribe had level 9 and level 8 powerhouses overseeing them. They had every reason to believe that the angelic squad could not breach their tribe. However, when the real battle began, they realized they had greatly underestimated the angels' power. Each angel possessed the ability to fight beyond their level. The 2 powerful level 8 goblin commanders were even rendered completely defenseless by a group of level 6 angels. It was an incredibly unbelievable situation, which filled the surrounded goblin elites with both astonishment and fear. What made them feel even more desperate was that their old chieftain seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Elementalists were like long-range artillery on the battlefield, most vulnerable to melee attacks. When the 4 most powerful angels surrounded the goblin chief, his fate seemed already predictable. Fire Dragon Spell. The goblin chief roared in anger, wielding his staff and unleashing a high-level fire elemental magic. In an instant, a fire dragon several tens of meters long swept towards Ayata and the others. Wherever the fire dragon passed, not only was the earth scorched, even the air was filled with the smell of burnt. It was a testament to its immense power. However, Ayata and the others did not retreat. From a distance of several tens of meters, they swung their angelic swords towards the fire dragon. Instantly, 4 golden flames burst forth, transforming into massive fire pythons that collided with the fire dragon. With a loud explosion, the fire dragon was directly dispersed, and even the flames that appeared after the explosion were devoured by the golden fire pythons. What kind of flames are these? The goblin chief's face turned pale. The series of events that had unfolded today seemed to have completely exceeded his understanding. Ayata and the others approached step by step, saying, "These are flames of holiness and light, condensed through faith. They can purify all evil in the world. Old Goblin, our Lord is merciful. We give you a chance to live. Believe in our Lord, join the ranks of the Holy Light, and you will receive eternal life and redemption. And if I refuse?" The goblin chief tightly gripped his elemental staff, his face filled with vigilance and anger. Refuse. Ayata stood tall in midair. Behind her were a pair of angelic wings radiating holy light. She looked down at the goblin chief, her expression indifferent as she said, "Those who refuse to believe in the holy light will not receive our Lord's mercy. The outcome will be the purification of your soul and body by the holy flames." 6%. Chapter 37 Ayata. Then go die. The so-called purification of the body and soul, in simpler terms, means being burned to death on the spot. The face of the goblin chief turned extremely ugly. There was anger and fear. He had a deep understanding of the power of the angel's holy flame. He had personally experienced how his unique mastery of high-level fire elemental magic, the fire dragon spell, was directly burned to extinction by the angel's holy flame in a clash of flames. If it were him, he would have been burned to ashes. How could a mortal body withstand the burning of the fire of faith? The goblin chief even suspected that Ayada was not lying. The angel's holy flame could not only burn the body to ashes but also extinguish the souls of living beings. Because he sensed an incredibly terrifying power of annihilation within the holy flame. That power made his soul tremble in fear. Without a soul, he couldn't even become an undead. The goblin chief really wanted to resist, but he knew he was no match for these angels, as he had concluded from the battle just now. If he resisted, there was a high probability that he would be surrounded and killed. After a moment of silence, the goblin chief, with a defeated expression, said, "You win. I can hand over the tribe to you and promise not to take anything with me, as long as you let me leave." He was different from his uncle, Goblin Lewin. He was a 9th level professional. One step further, and he would be a king level powerhouse. With his strength, he could easily survive alone in this jungle, and even going to the world outside the jungle was not impossible. Once he broke free from his restraints and stepped into the king level, he would soar to the sky and live well anywhere. In this situation, why would he be willing to become a follower of the evil god? Giving up the tribe was already his bottom line. Unfortunately, this was his own bottom line, unrelated to Ayada and the others. Without any communication, Ayada, Sally, Vina, and Josie, the 4 7th level angels, directly surrounded the goblin chief, blocking all his retreat routes. The goblin chief was suddenly horrified and said, "What do you want to do? I promised to hand over the tribe to you, and you still won't let me go. We have already captured this tribe. We don't need your consent." Ayada held the angel's sword diagonally, and the sword was ablaze. "You now have only 2 choices. Believe in our Lord and redeem yourself, or be purified by the holy flame." The goblin chief turned his head. He saw goblins kneeling in the distance. Under the guard of a group of goblin believers, no goblin in the tribe dared to make any moves and all behaved obediently. On the other side, the goblin powerhouses who were besieged by the angel squad were reduced to only 3, and they all surrendered and disarmed, no longer daring to resist. Among them was an 8th level goblin leader. All the tribesmen were captured, the strong ones died or surrendered. Now, he had become a lonely person. But even so, the goblin chief's attitude remained strong. He gritted his teeth and said, "I will not bow my head to any evil god." "Then go to hell." Before the words fell, Ayada and the others rushed towards the goblin chief. The goblin chief also erupted. He swung his elemental staff frantically, releasing powerful and destructive fire elemental magic in an attempt to repel the angels and find a breakthrough. However, he soon fell into despair. Because many more angels appeared near the battlefield. Although these angels were only 5th or 6th level, they were enough to cut off his escape route. Boom! Another fire dragon was slashed and exploded. The scorching flames surged in all directions, igniting nearby tribal buildings one after another. Under the blazing fire, the goblin chief appeared extremely miserable. Although he was not seriously injured, most of his magical power had been consumed, and he could feel his strength rapidly declining. An elemental mage without magical power was not much stronger than an ordinary person. Especially on such a battlefield. Once his magical power was exhausted, any nearby angel could kill him. "Wait, I surrender." Finally, the goblin chief felt fear and shouted to surrender. Compared to death or having his soul purified, it seemed easier to accept the worship of an evil god. However, Ayada and the others turned a deaf ear. The swords of the angels, burning with golden flames, danced in their hands, slashing out brilliant cross-shaped sword lights. "No!" The goblin chieftain cried out in despair. He swung his staff to resist, but found it futile. There was no escape. In the next moment, he was engulfed in despair and terror by the cross-shaped sword lights. Pooh! 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 Several sword lights pierced through the goblin chieftain's body, leaving deep sword marks on the ground, reaching half a meter in depth. The goblin chieftain's eyes widened, and his body stiffened in place. His life force was rapidly fading, but he didn't die immediately because the sword lights were too sharp, not even taking a drop of blood when they cut through his body. "Why?" The goblin chieftain looked at Ayada and the others standing in midair with disbelief. He didn't understand. He had already prepared to surrender. He had even shouted out that he wanted to surrender. But these angels didn't spare him. Could it be that he, a powerful 9th level elemental mage, was inferior to those ordinary goblins? Ayada looked down at the goblin chieftain, her beautiful face showing a cold expression. Blasphemers who defile our Lord, you are not qualified to receive the blessings of the holy light. Quote. The goblin chieftain was instantly stunned. It seemed that he had indeed referred to the Lord of Holy Light, whom these angels believed in, as an evil god. He realized it and felt extremely regretful. But it was too late. At this moment, a sharp pain spread from all parts of his body. The goblin chieftain opened his mouth, as if he wanted to say something, but it was already too late. His body collapsed like a stack of building blocks. Limb fragments and minced meat scattered all over the ground. At the same time, a golden glowing blueprint fell out. Chieftain. Inside the tribe, goblins were crying out in grief. The sacrifice of the goblin chieftain made them sad and sorrowful. Setting aside the fact that the goblin chieftain wanted to surrender but failed, they felt that the goblin chieftain had sacrificed for the glory of the tribe and the dignity of the goblin race. He deserved an honorable farewell. Why are you crying? Clang, clang, clang. Swords were placed on the shoulders of those grieving goblins. Instantly, the crying ceased. The entire tribe fell silent. All the goblins knelt obediently on the ground, not allowed to cry. Josie, gather the goblins of the tribe. Vina, led a team of angels to clean up the battlefield. Other angels, come with me to purify the souls of these tribal goblins and spread the faith of our Lord. Orders were conveyed one after another from Ayada's mouth. The tribal battle had already ended, and now it was time for the cleanup work. At the border of the territory, Lin Yu also learned the news that the goblin tribe had been captured by the angel squad. Not because of the death of the goblin chieftain, but because of a message prompt from the myriad world's floating island. Respected overlord, your troops have killed the goblin chieftain, Barial, and captured all the goblins of the goblin tribe. You have successfully captured the goblin tribe. Congratulations, you are the first professional to capture a local power stronghold on the island. Your glorious achievements will be recorded in the floating island's annals. At the same time, you will receive the following rewards. Reward 1. 1,000 gold coins. Reward 2. 100 honor points. Reward 3. 500 reputation points. Reward 4. Your name, along with your glorious achievements, will shine in the island's chat channel, inspiring other professionals to advance bravely. 7%. Chapter 38. One person dominates a list. Looking at the series of information prompts that appeared in his mind, Lin Yu felt extremely excited. He didn't expect that the first base destroyed by the indigenous intelligent creatures, the floating island, would actually give rewards, and there were 4 types of rewards. Just the 1,000 gold coins alone were enough to make Lin Yu marvel at the richness of the rewards. Not to mention the rewards of glory points and reputation points. Since arriving at the floating island, my angels have killed thousands of monsters in the wilderness and defeated more than one high-level boss, but I have never obtained any glory points or reputation points. They only appeared after capturing the goblin tribe. And they were given to me as the reward for being the first to capture an indigenous base. This indicates one thing. The difficulty of obtaining glory points and reputation points is very high, and they are even more precious. I just don't know what these 2 things are used for. At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly remembered something. He quickly extended his right hand. It could be seen that there was a red mark on his right wrist, which was the symbol of a professional and also had teleportation function. There was an energy progress bar on the left side of the mark, currently showing 34.6%. When the value of the energy progress bar reached 100%, he could activate the mark and return to the blue star. Of course, this was not Lin Yu's focus. He reached out and clicked on the red mark, and a row of virtual buttons appeared before his eyes, such as Island Chat Channel, Professional Trading Platform, Friend Channel. These 3 were frequently visited by Lin Yu. In addition, there was a glory contribution ranking. This was a leaderboard, but it had always been blank. At this moment, Lin Yu clicked into it. As expected, his name was listed. And on the entire glory contribution ranking, there was only his name. Glory contribution ranking. First place. Lin Yu, 100 glory points. Profession, overlord, no title. Second place. None. Third place. None. Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. 100th place. None. One person dominating the leaderboard. Seems quite impressive. I just don't know what these glory points are used for, and the reputation points. In addition to the 100 glory points, Myriad Worlds Floating Island also rewarded Lin Yu with a whopping 500 reputation points, giving Lin Yu the feeling that reputation points should be less valuable than glory points. Lin Yu thought for a moment and contacted Myriad Worlds Floating Island. He inquired about the uses and related information of glory points and reputation points. Soon, he received a reply from Myriad Worlds Floating Island. Glory points are one of the most precious things on Myriad Worlds Floating Island. You can use them to exchange for anything you want, including but not limited to special blueprints, divine weapons, and origin power. Professionals who make outstanding contributions to the floating island will be rewarded with glory points. For example, Lin Yu, as the first professional to capture an indigenous base, has outstanding achievements and high contributions and was rewarded with glory points. The way to obtain reputation points is similar to that of glory points. But the difficulty is slightly lower than obtaining glory points. The higher your reputation points, the greater your fame in the indigenous world of the floating island, and the easier it is to gain the active allegiance of the indigenous intelligent creatures. When establishing a kingdom, there are reputation point requirements. After listening, Lin Yu also had a specific understanding of glory points and reputation points. As for reputation points, it's not important. Whether he has a high reputation or not doesn't matter much. He has the super apex level unit, the angel, and is not obsessed with the active allegiance of the indigenous intelligent creatures. Conquering them by force is also the same. The main thing is to establish a kingdom, which requires a certain amount of reputation points. This is very important. Overall, the cost effectiveness of glory points is higher than that of reputation points because they can be used to exchange for what professionals need. Then, Lin Yu found the exchange button on the glory contribution ranking. As soon as you click in, you will see the items for exchange, densely packed and countless. Brave Set King level, 500 glory points. Hidden Cape, Saint rank, 800 glory points. Space-Time Ring, Demigod Artifact, 2000 glory points. Curse of the Beast King, Divine Weapon, 5000 glory points. Exclusive Troop Quantity Blueprint, 300 glory points. Troop Evolution Blueprint, 100 glory points. Pharmacist's Mansion Building Blueprint, 300 glory points. Apex Level Troop Building Blueprint, 10,000 glory points. Level 1 Spirit Rice Seed, 10 glory points. Level 2 Spirit Rice Seed, 20 glory points. Black Bone Bloodvine Monster Plant, 300 glory points. Immortal Flower Monster Plant, 2000 glory points. At a glance, there are countless rare items, ranging from divine weapons and apex level troop building blueprints to level 1 spirit rice seeds that can be exchanged for just 10 glory points. The abundance of items left Lin Yu dumbfounded. His eyes were dazzled. His mouth watered. But the result was that he couldn't afford most of the items. He only had a measly 100 glory points. To think that even apex level troop building blueprints are available, it's simply terrifying. Lin Yu looked at the item information on the exchange menu and couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. The apex level troop building blueprint can be considered the island's apex level treasure. At this stage, Overlord professionals, including Lin Yu, summon troops from the Hall of the Overlord, which are exclusive troops randomly obtained and cannot be changed. As for the troop building, it is another way to summon troops. Just like the barracks in the game. After building it with blueprints, troops can be summoned using gold coins. The troop building does not conflict with the troops summoned from the Hall of the Overlord, it is simply an additional channel to summon other troops. And these building blueprints can allow Overlord professionals to change their destiny. For example, a low-level Overlord, after obtaining the troop building blueprint that can summon apex-level troops, can directly promote to an apex-level Overlord. This is extremely terrifying. However, the probability of such a destiny-changing event is also extremely low. Lin Yu had reason to believe that it was basically impossible for professionals to obtain the apex-level troop building blueprint by killing monsters. As for the apex-level troop building blueprint in the exchange menu, it requires a whopping 10,000 glory points, even more expensive than the divine weapon, Curse of the Beast King. So, it's just for show. Lin Yu had no intention of gathering 10,000 glory points to exchange for it. In front of his unique troop, the Angel, all apex-level troops were meaningless. I only have 100 glory points now, and there aren't many items I can exchange for. Lin Yu was not in a hurry. He needed to study carefully. If he couldn't find a desirable item for exchange, he could also save up his existing glory points. Every little bit counts. Maybe one day, he would be able to exchange for the divine weapon or a powerful great monster. Just as Lin Yu was contemplating which item to exchange for, the island's chat channel erupted completely. The reason behind it was the fourth reward given to Lin Yu by the floating island. Your name and your glorious achievements will shine in the island's chat channel, inspiring other professionals to forge ahead. What does this mean? It's similar to a world announcement in the game. If a world announcement is made, how could the island's chat channel not be in an uproar? After all, Myriad World's floating island made a grand entrance. 7%. Chapter 39 World Announcement, Boiling. At this moment, at the top of the chat channel on the island, rows of golden characters are eye-catching and dazzling. Congratulations to Overlord Lin Yu for capturing the local stronghold of the Goblin tribe. As the first overlord to capture a local stronghold, Lin Yu is rewarded with 1,000 gold coins, 100 honor points, and 500 reputation points. I hope all professionals can take Lin Yu as an example and make outstanding contributions to the unification of the floating island. These rows of golden characters are prominently displayed, shining with nobility, allowing every professional who enters the chat channel to see them at the first moment. This is the world announcement. It is also a way of becoming famous that any professional would envy. If there were still people who didn't know Lin Yu's name before, then now, such people are absolutely rare. Unless they don't enter the chat channel. But obviously, that's impossible. Because whether it's bragging in the chat channel or collecting various information, these are the daily routines of professionals. So, Lin Yu is completely famous this time. His name is remembered by all professionals on the island at this moment. It's simply known by everyone. It dominates the entire floating island. The chat channel is also completely boiling. It's actually a world announcement. I've never heard of it. I didn't expect the floating island to have world announcements. The first batch of veteran professionals who arrived on the floating island never enjoyed such treatment. That's true. When I was on Blue Star, I used to hang out on the professional forum every day, but I never heard of the floating island issuing a world announcement for any professional. Since when did the floating island start to have internal competition? Whether it's competitive or not doesn't matter. What matters is the content of the announcement. Is Lin Yu's strength really so terrifying? He actually captured a goblin tribe. I know about the goblins. They are low-level intelligent creatures on the floating island. No matter how low-level they are still a tribe. Generally speaking, even the weakest local stronghold has a level 9 monster guarding it. In other words, Lin Yu's troops have become powerful enough to kill a level 9 boss. This is too strong. As an overlord professional myself, even if it's just an ordinary level 5 monster, my troops can't defeat it. You're talking as if I'm not the same. God bless, as an overlord with high-level troops, I'm still fighting against small groups of wild wolves. The current overlord professionals are really at this level. Currently, only Apex-level overlords have the ability to challenge level 5 or 6 monsters. But being able to kill a level 6 monster is already considered top-notch. Someone like Lin Yu, who captured a stronghold guarded by a level 9 local powerhouse, is something professionals wouldn't even dare to think about. If it weren't for the world announcement serving as evidence for Lin Yu, no professional would believe that his strength has reached such a level. Is there any expert who can estimate what kind of troops Lin Yu has? It's only been 3 days, and he has already captured a local stronghold. It's simply unbelievable. On this issue, I think the leader of the Hall of Kings has the right to speak. It seems that the leader of the Hall of Kings can't even capture a local stronghold now, right? No need to speculate, that's a fact. Ever since Lin Yu continuously put up high-level supreme-grade equipment for sale, I knew that his troops are definitely extraordinary. Lin Yu's troops must be the most powerful among Apex-level troops. Envious of Lin Yu. By the way, being able to mooch off the floating island and get gold coins is not something an ordinary person can do. 1,000 gold coins. Now, Lin Yu can summon 20 Apex-level troops again. Don't forget the rewards of honor points and reputation points. These two are good things, worth more than gold coins. Especially honor points. I just opened the glory contribution ranking, and there's only Lin Yu at the top. I saw it too. Lin Yu is ranked first in the glory contribution ranking, with no one behind him. I am completely transformed by my envy of Lin Yu. Completely transformed +1, plus 10,086. On the vast grassland, the territory of the Golden Behemoth Overlord. The Golden Behemoth troops in the territory have been dispatched for hunting. There was only one person left in the entire territory, the Golden Behemoth Overlord. At this moment, the young man looked at the bustling island chat channel and the dazzling world announcement, his face twisted. Jealousy, shock, disbelief. Various negative expressions appeared on his face. His originally average-looking face became even more unsightly. How is this possible? Even if Lin Yu's apex-level troops are stronger than my Golden Behemoth, he couldn't have captured a native intelligent creature's stronghold so quickly. A native powerhouse with a level of 9. Is this something that current professionals can challenge? The young man widened his eyes, filled with fear and astonishment. For his Golden Behemoth team, it would take at least a week to have a chance to challenge a level 9 powerhouse. On the other hand, Lin Yu had already achieved it. He couldn't understand why Lin Yu's troops were so powerful in battle. Some speculated that Lin Yu's troops were already capable of hunting monsters at night, but that's not the point. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yu had even captured a stronghold of native intelligent creatures. What kind of troops were they that could grow at such an astonishing rate? Or did Lin Yu's troops have an initial level higher than level 4? That would be even more impossible. Because the initial level of apex level troops was level 4. What kind of troops would have an initial level higher than level 4? God level troops. I can't continue like this. I must find other ways to quickly develop, otherwise, I will have a hard time catching up to Lin Yu. As apex level overlords, Lin Yu had been speeding ahead. While his territory and troops were also developing and growing, compared to Lin Yu's high-speed racing, his speed was probably only 80 miles per hour. It wouldn't be long before he couldn't even see Lin Yu's taillights. So he had to find a way to step on the gas. But what could he do? Did he have to collect more gold coins in the alliance and expand his Golden Behemoth team? It seemed, maybe, possibly. That was really the only way. It wasn't just the young man who felt the crisis. Other top professionals on the island also felt a great sense of urgency. Especially those who aspired to compete for the position of Island Lord, each one was extremely anxious. The faster Lin Yu ran, the greater the gap between them and Lin Yu. It would be even more difficult to seize the position of Island Lord in the future. Under this pressure, every top professional was desperately trying to find ways to accelerate their own strength, so as not to be left too far behind by Lin Yu. Not to mention surpassing Lin Yu, but at least they had to be able to see Lin Yu's taillights after his high-speed racing. Otherwise, they would be completely finished. Just at this moment, a message appeared in the island chat channel, once again sparking heated discussions among countless professionals. The content of the message was straightforward. Lin Yu was the first to capture a native stronghold and received rich rewards from the floating island. So, will the floating island also give corresponding rewards for being the first to upgrade territory, the first to capture a wilderness gold mine, and the first to promote to a king-level professional? As soon as the message came out, the island chat channel immediately became noisy. Countless professionals quickly started discussing related information in the channel. And within a short period of time, the fence blueprint and arrow tower blueprint being sold on the island's trading platform were fiercely fought over by some overlord professionals. They believed that this message was very reliable. And the reason they fought over the fence blueprint and arrow tower blueprint was that each of them wanted to be the first to upgrade their territory and get the second crab. But soon, these overlord professionals were confused again. Even if they managed to get the fence blueprint and arrow tower blueprint, what could they do without the warehouse blueprint? Fence, arrow tower, warehouse. These were the three essential buildings for upgrading the territory to a middle-level village. One couldn't be missing. But on the trading platform, there was no trading information for the warehouse blueprint. The drop rate of the warehouse blueprint was even lower than that of the fence and arrow tower blueprints. It's okay, no rush. The warehouse blueprint hasn't appeared at all, so Lin Yu definitely doesn't have it either. I still have a chance to get this reward. This was the thought of many overlord professionals, perhaps also a way to comfort themselves. 7%. Chapter 40A Great Harvest Day. At this moment, the Alliance channel of Hall of Kings is very lively. As the strongest professional alliance on the island, the number of members in Hall of Kings has exceeded 150,000. This is a terrifying number. If all these alliance members can be used by the Golden Behemoth Overlord, he will have a great advantage in the future battle for the island. It is precisely because of this that sometimes, the Golden Behemoth Overlord doesn't even pay attention to Lin Yu. He thinks that he is just temporarily behind. With the support of Hall of Kings, he will eventually surpass Lin Yu. And at this moment, the Alliance channel of Hall of Kings is in a huge uproar because of a statement made by the Golden Behemoth Overlord. This young overlord is up to his tricks again. This time, he didn't use the excuse of forming a core team to collect gold coins from Alliance members, nor did he ask for loans. Instead, he directly crowdfunded. He believes that as an apex-level overlord and the prestige of being the Alliance leader, it is completely acceptable to crowdfund some gold coins within the Alliance. After all, why borrow if you can crowdfund? Borrowed gold coins have to be repaid. Moreover, borrowing gold coins requires signing a contract, and he can't avoid it under the rules of the floating island. Unfortunately, the Golden Behemoth Overlord overestimated himself. His crowdfunding plan was directly resisted by many Alliance members. Our Alliance leader is so arrogant. The leaders of other alliances at least borrow gold coins. Our Alliance leader just asks for crowdfunding. Empty words and false promises, always thinking of beautiful things. You can't do such a thing without drinking at least 3 gin of alcohol. No one's gold coins come from a strong wind. Every gold coin is soaked with the sweat, and even blood, of us battle professionals. Borrowing gold coins is one thing, but crowdfunding is another. Countless similar messages appeared in the Alliance channel. Suddenly, the Golden Behemoth Overlord was dumbfounded. Is his face as an apex-level overlord worth so little? In such a large alliance, with over 150,000 members, he couldn't crowdfund enough gold coins to buy 2 building blueprints. Yes, he also wanted to be the first professional to upgrade his territory, and then receive rewards from the floating island. However, he didn't value the gold coins and prestige in the rewards. He only valued the world announcement and glory points. These 2 things can greatly enhance his prestige on the island, attracting more professionals to join his alliance, Hall of Kings. He admits that he may not be able to surpass Lin Yu in terms of troops, but he holds the trump card of Hall of Kings. As long as he firmly grasps this trump card, he will definitely be able to defeat Lin Yu and other top professionals, and become the owner of the floating island. However, it seems that something went wrong somewhere. In the alliance, his face is completely useless. Not a single alliance member is willing to stand up and support him, even the members of his core team. Seeing that the public opinion within the alliance was overwhelmingly against him, the Golden Behemoth Overlord became afraid and quickly changed his statement, claiming that it was not crowdfunding, but borrowing. This suppressed those chaotic voices. And in the end, he successfully borrowed thousands of gold coins. Alliance leader, the prices of fence blueprints and arrow tower blueprints are rising too fast, they are not worth buying. The most crucial thing is that we don't have a warehouse blueprint. What if someone gets the warehouse blueprint, upgrades their territory ahead of us, and gets the rewards? Our alliance leader will suffer a great loss. The warehouse blueprint is too difficult to obtain. Don't fear 10,000, just fear the unexpected. Lin Yu, I suspect you're talking about me. The Golden Behemoth Overlord ignored the voices in the alliance channel. As soon as he received the thousands of gold coins, he immediately opened the island trading platform and bought a fence blueprint and an arrow tower blueprint. The prices of these 2 blueprints have been rising. If he waits, he will have to pay more gold coins. But even so, the Golden Behemoth Overlord still feels heartbroken. Damn it, these despicable and heartless merchants. In just a short while, the price of the blueprints has increased by more than half. He was furious and felt like he had lost $1 billion. But in the end, he did get the blueprints and still had over 2,000 gold coins. Now it depends on when the first warehouse blueprint will be released. No matter the cost, I will get my hands on the warehouse blueprint. This time, I absolutely cannot let Lin Yu get ahead again. Golden Behemoth Overlord muttered to himself angrily, vowing to redeem himself through a wave of world announcement. On Lin Yu's side, he had already closed the exchange menu for glory items. He had been looking at it for a long time, but he still couldn't decide how to spend his 100 glory points. It was really difficult to choose, not knowing which one to exchange for. In reality, he didn't have many options to choose from. For example, there were the unit evolution blueprints worth 100 glory points, the low-level equipment blueprints worth 50 glory points, and cheaper items like spirit rice seeds, and so on. But no matter which item he exchanged for, he felt like he would be at a loss. In his opinion, since it was so difficult to obtain glory points, they should be used to exchange for rarer items to truly reflect their value. Ordinary items could be bought on the trading platform without needing to use glory points. Even the unit evolution blueprints, which could evolve units, were the same. He had checked the information on the unit evolution blueprints. At first glance, they were impressive. But upon closer inspection, they were troublesome. His unit, the Angel, could also evolve using these blueprints, but there was a chance of success or failure during the evolution. If it failed, Lin Yu would lose 100 glory points. So after much hesitation, he ultimately couldn't bring himself to make a decision. He glanced at the bustling island chat channel and the prominently displayed Golden World announcement, then satisfied, he went to the neighboring island trading platform. The warehouse blueprint hasn't been released yet, but everyone is fighting over the fence and arrow tower blueprints. These people are really crazy. Fortunately, my warehouse has already been built. As he spoke, Lin Yu glanced at the auction for the ghoul leather armor. There were less than 3 minutes left until the auction ended. And the bidding price for the ghoul leather armor had already soared to 1,070 gold coins, higher than any other level 5 supreme grade equipment that had been sold. A final price of over 1,000 gold coins. The floating island has rewarded me with another 1,000 gold coins. Plus the spoils from capturing the goblin tribe. I have to say, today is a day of great harvest. Lin Yu laughed happily, feeling very good. Just at that moment, he received another message from Myriad World's floating island. Respected Overlord, your unit team has occupied the Goblin tribe's core building, the conference hall. You can choose to destroy it or occupy it. If you choose to occupy it, the Goblin tribe will become your second territory. If you choose to destroy it, the Goblin tribe will become ruins and become unclaimed territory. During this process, you may have a chance to obtain relevant blueprints from the Goblin tribe. Destroying the local Foss's stronghold had a high probability of obtaining blueprints, including but not limited to territory buildings. Besides building blueprints, other blueprints were also possible to obtain. Lin Yu had collected this information earlier on the Blue Stars professional forum, so he didn't hesitate and decisively chose to destroy it. As for occupying the Goblin tribe, it was meaningless to him at the moment. Congratulations, Lin Yu Overlord. You have successfully destroyed the Goblin tribe. You have gained the enmity of the Goblin race. You have obtained 3 arrow tower blueprints, 1 fence blueprint, 1 warehouse blueprint, 5 wooden house blueprints, and 1 silver grade stronghold treasure chest from the Goblin tribe. Looking at the series of information prompts appearing in his mind, Lin Yu had only one thought left. He struck it rich. Who had only one thought left. He struck it rich. Who had only one thought left.